हाय हेलो एवरीवन, मेरा प्यारा वॉरियर्स एंड लेजेंड्स इन द क्लासरूम। कैसे हैं सब लोग? सब बढ़िया? जल्दी से जल्दी फटाफट टेल मी हाउ आर यू ऑल डूइंग। मुझे भी पता है इट्स संडे एंड यू माइट had some plans for playing and meeting with the friends, but obviously I'll be completing this particular chapter of alternating current before 5:30 or 6 o'clock. Okay, and maybe you can spend some time with your friends after that. So till then we are going to complete this particular chapter of alternating current by going through the entire concept and doing multiple choice questions as mentee. I hope you all are excited within this 4 hours to complete this particular chapter of alternating current. Whoever is seeing me for the very first time, this is your Ameer Bhaiya, physics educator at Unacademy. And if you all can see me and hear me, jaldi se jaldi fatafat give me an amazing thumbs up in the chat box. Let me see. Everyone. Hi Vanshika, Miara, Hiba, Ilma. Only studies, Miara. Very good, very good, very good. So am I audible? Am I visible? I hope you all can see me. Jaldi se bata, and do also update me. How's your Sunday going? I'm all good, Vanshika. Thank you so much for asking. Good afternoon, Sudeep. I'm also doing good, Anna. I'm also doing good. Thank you so much for asking. So I think everyone is doing good and having an amazing time. So let's make the time so much amazing more. How? Yes. We will complete one of the toughest chapter, which is alternating current for term 1 in this particular session. Now I hope you can see a bit of introduction about myself, whoever is seeing me for the very first time. I have an experience of more than 3.5 years in the field of teaching JEE, NEET and board student. I am a BTech graduate from an IT Calicut in mechanical engineering, and I taught and mentored many students, and they are doing so good in their life. This is all about me, right? And tomorrow, okay, this is the schedule for the previous week. So tomorrow we'll be starting with the alternating current. So whoever haven't learned alternating current and whoever wants a revision for the chapter of alternating current, tomorrow you can join with me at 10 p.m. Don't miss your chance. Tomorrow is the very first lecture. Keep it in mind. Then you know that amazing educators are there in the Unacademy Class 11th and 12th YouTube channel taking the classes. And I know that you don't want to miss any of the live classes with them. So if you want to get daily updates and notifications whenever a live class happens, you should be a part of this Telegram channel where you'll get all the notifications. I hope you can see the link here, है ना? और क्या? जल्दी से आ जाइए सब. We all are waiting. Now, needless to tell you, right, the term 1 examination is going to be held with a new examination pattern with multiple choice questions and assertion reason type questions. Sabko pata hai. But this is your first time where you will be writing with a multiple choice question and assertion reason type question for your board examination. So don't you want some practice and preparation? That is the reason why Unacademy, who loves all Unacademy and the students so much more, we have started with the mock test program. Every week this will be happening, and whoever is getting a very good rank, they will be published in all the social media handles such as YouTube, Instagram. Up बहुत famous हो जाएगा. That's all I can say. And more than that, once you keep on practicing, what happens, your knowledge will be improved, and you'll be more familiarized with this new examination pattern before the term 1 exam, and you can get a very good score for the term 1 examination also, है ना? और क्या सर, बिल्कुल. I hope you can see the respective dates for each and every subjects, maths, bio, physics and chemistry. The dates are given, so you can come and join. Physics is when on 4th of October. I think it's tomorrow. I hope you all have made your preparations, and it's completely free, okay? And now I'll talk about Unacademy subscription for the next 2 minutes, and after that it'll be just me, you and the alternating current, okay? Now why Unacademy subscription is so important, though everything is available for free in YouTube. I'll tell you the reasons one by one. Sun le. Okay. Now, in the Unacademy subscription platform, we all educators will be teaching with a proper schedule, targeting board examination, JEE examination, and the NEET examination. And we'll make sure that all the topics covered are in the same order, whichever is given in your NCERT, so that you won't find any trouble in understanding and following the same. And you can keep track of all the topic that is being covered in the class. What happens? Yes, once everything fall in this particular pattern, the entire process of learning will become super simple. And once it is simple, you can learn each and every concept in a much easier way, understand it and reproduce it for all the examination you're going to write, and your ranks and marks is going to be booming up. One reason. Got it, right? Then top educators of the country are already there with the Unacademy platform, who's having very good experience with the education already, right? They'll be telling you, right, what are the kind of examination pattern that is going to come, what are the kind of questions you should be expecting, which all are the important topics, because they already know what the examination pattern is, because they have such an amazing experience with this educational field, right? So once you can follow them, your marks will also be in a smiling way. Then study materials will be given to you, practice test and live test series will make you super duper and upar ka bhi confident, and will bring out the best from every one of you. And for this, as you can see, how much for 12 months plus subscription, it will cost you 1250 per month. And should you have to pay this much? Bilkul nahi. Kyun nahi? Because you have the referral code and I'm going to give it to you, where it will give you 10% of discount. Don't forget, it is AMB10. Use it and get 10% of discount. ठीक है? And along with the features I already have explained, if you want so many features, you should be going for Iconic subscription, because in Iconic subscription you will be given a personal mentor, which means a person who will be there to help you with your academic activities throughout 24/7. Let's say making the schedule, how to study, what should be your strategy, which means that person will be there from the top to the bottom till you get your goal achieved. Then live doubt solving classes will be there, weekly reports will be given to you. For all these amazing features, you should be going for Iconic subscription. And if you're going for a 12-month subscription, it will cost you 2,333 per month. And use this code. Use karega na? Because it is for your own benefit, it's not for me. If you use this code of AMB10, you will be getting extra 10% of discount from the already mentioned price here. So it will be an amazing thing for you to be a part of an academy and start learning with this. There are two reasons that I think this is the best time for you to make the subscription. First reason, if you make the subscription for 12 months right now, you will be given extra 4 months free. One reason. Second reason is, if you start learning now, you can complete all your syllabus for the board examination, JEE and any examination. So it'll be an amazing thing. If you complete your syllabus, you can get a very good score for the examination, and that will be something so great, right? Okay. This is all about Unacademy, me and everything. Now it's time for our chapter. Hindi mein boli. Yes, we're gonna start the session, Ritu. Add to ho gaya hiba. Now it's just us. Now it will be me, you and the entire alternating current chapter. So tell me, how many of you are here for completely learning this particular chapter of alternating current? The class will be very slow, and we'll be having a chill pill class, and almost 4 hours it will take to complete the chapter. So how many of you came here to be here for the next 4 hours and learn this chapter? And I think those who came here will be having a pen and also a book along with them. Jaldi bata Myara, Priyu, who all are here? Yes, let us begin, Anna. Hi Ritima, Priya. Tell me, how many of you? Yes, Myara is in, Bharat is in. So Sharika. So I think many of you are here on a serious note of learning this particular chapter of alternating current, right? Okay, so we will proceed, and if there are enough students in the classroom, we will be doing Menti also, right? If there are no enough students, there is no point of making the Menti. Fine. So yes, let us proceed. Everyone, here we go. Now, this particular chapter is about alternating current. You will find this chapter a bit difficult. Do you know what's the reason? Because you haven't learned the concept of this particular chapter in your lower level classes or chotu classes. If it was current electricity chapter, you know the chapter, you find it easy because you have learned in your 10th standard and 9th standard. Ray optics chapter, you will find it easy because you have learned it in your 10th standard and 9th standard. So there are so many chapters in 12th standard physics where you already have some base. But this is a chapter we don't have any base related to it. So this will be a bit difficult. So obviously we can overcome this difficulty, right? Kaise? Just give your complete attention, and together in this 4 hours we'll be making it super simple chapter, right? And I'll make sure that if a question is being asked for term 1 examination, you will be answering it. ठीक है, देख ले इधर. Let us start with the concept. First, let us talk about what we were actually learning till now. We were learning till about a direct current. Direct current matlab a current which is always having the same direction, and we were learning about that direct current which is having a constant value. There is no point in me giving definition. I'll just draw the figure and make you understand. देख ले. We have a resistor. Okay. This resistor is connected to a cell. The cell is having a potential of V, and this is providing a constant value of potential. CONS, this is constant. Okay, a constant value of potential. And here we have a resistance. Obviously, you know that a current is produced in this direction. Formula for current, V by R. What can you comment about this particular current? I is equal to constant voltage by constant resistance. So the current you observe or the current you get from this particular thing will also be, it will also be constant. So from here, with a constant voltage, you will be observing a constant current. And these kind of current, we call it as DC current or direct current. Okay, so we have learned everything related to this. What happens when a DC current is applied across resistor, capacitor, inductor, we have learned in our previous classes. Now, resistor. Now we are going to define and see what is this alternating current. देख ले. Instead of providing a constant voltage, now I am going to be providing a variable voltage. This symbol, can you see? This symbol represents the voltage that you apply is variable. So I'm applying a variable voltage here. This is a resistor. So if I try to find out the current in this particular circuit, how much will it be? Voltage by resistance. Is it going to be a constant this time? Bilkul nahi, this is not going to be a constant this time because we are applying a variable value for voltage. So the current that you get from here will also be a variable. And if you are having a variable current in a circuit, that current ka naam hai, yes, give me the name, alternating current. And this is the simple definition or the simple way to understand what an alternating current is. An alternating current is a current which can change its magnitude or its direction. Which means if an alternating current is there, it can go in this direction sometimes and it can go in the opposite direction also. Understood? Alternating current is a current which can change its magnitude and the direction simultaneously in a circuit. We call it as alternating current. ठीक है? Now, for having an alternating current, there should be a source of alternating voltage. So, इधर तक सब समझ में आ गया? The initial part of this particular thing, the initial part, what an alternating current is, how is it a relationship with the voltage, everything is पक्का clear to everyone, I suppose. ठीक है? Now, as we already have discussed, the current, if it wants to be alternating, there should be an alternating voltage source. Now, let us talk about the kind of alternating voltage that our houses are receiving. How many of you knew this particular thing before? Knew this particular thing matlab the current that is receiving to your houses is not direct current, it is alternating current. Or the voltage that we are receiving is alternating voltage. How many of you knew this? Okay, I have no idea how many of you know this, but this is the truth. Which means in our houses, what we are receiving is alternating current and the alternating voltage. Those who don't know, please note it down, okay, and note it down in your memory also. ठीक है? Yes. Now, I hope you are able to understand. Now, as I have told you, there should be a voltage, okay, a voltage source to produce this alternating current. Now, the kind of voltage that we will be applying to the circuit or the kind of voltage that we usually use in our houses is a sinusoidal voltage. What is it? In order to produce an alternating current, we should be having an alternating voltage, and the kind of alternating voltage that we use for our common purposes and in our houses is sinusoidal voltage. ये sinusoidal voltage क्या है? I hope you do know this. Sine, है ना? Which means the amount of voltage that you apply will be looking exactly like a sine curve. This will be the graph for voltage versus time. You can see that at each point of time, at one point of time, the voltage will be like this. At another point of time, the voltage will be having another value. And if you keep track of the entire value of voltage over the time interval, you will see that the shape of the voltage that you are applying to the circuit will be in the shape of a sine curve. So what is the kind of alternating voltage we usually use for our daily house purposes? Everyone by heart it is sinusoidal voltage. Why sinusoidal voltage? Because the changing voltage is looking like a sine curve. इधर तक सबको अच्छे से. Now moving on. The next thing is, any doubt till here? Anyone in the classroom? Anisha, okay. Are you having trouble with my voice? Which means, am I not audible? जल्दी से बताएं everyone. Am I audible? Can you all listen to me? I'll try to adjust my mic a bit. So volume is a little low. Okay, so can you please adjust the volume of your speaker, or can you use your earphone? I'm audible, clear voice. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So others, please do check the volume of your speaker. ठीक है. Now I hope you understood the kind of voltage that we will be applying to our circuit, which means the kind of voltage that we will be receiving in our houses. That will be the sinusoidal voltage. Okay. Next thing is, how can I express this voltage in the form of an equation, right? Because whenever we need to express a voltage, there should be a relevant equation for that. Let's see, how can I express this sinusoidal voltage? Okay, we have V here, and on the x-axis we have the time. Now I'll take back you to a small memory from your 11th standard mathematics. If I plot a graph between y and theta for y is equal to sine theta, how the graph was looking like? The graph will be looking like this. है ना? The graph will be looking like this. As this is a sine curve, can you tell me what will be the amplitude of this particular wave? What is its maximum value? 1, right? And here if you look into, if you go to the maximum point, this is the maximum value for voltage that you apply. You usually note it as V0. I hope I don't need to explain regarding this wave formation, which is this is what? This is a wave and this is its amplitude, and the up curve and the down curve will constitute one complete cycle, and the time required for it we call it as time period. सबको पता है. Okay. Now coming back to the graph for sine. You know, y is equal to sine theta. है ना? Y is equal to sine theta. We everyone knows. Now in the case of sine curve, the maximum value is 1. So though it is written as y equal to sine theta, it is actually y equal to 1 into sine theta. What this 1 is? It is the amplitude of this sine curve. I hope you also know theta is equal to omega into t. What is theta? Theta is the angle, omega is the angular velocity multiplied by time. So similarly, you can write 1 into sine of omega t is equal to y. Compare this equation, right? So that we can write the equation for voltage, because both are looking or having the same kind of a curve. Here you have y on the y-axis. Here you have what? Yes, V. Here the amplitude is 1, right? The maximum value is 1 in the sine curve, and here what do you have? Here we have V naught, and then it is sine of omega t, and here also sine of omega t. Those who can't see, I'll write down here the voltage at any point of time in a sinusoidal curve is V is equal to V naught into sine of omega t. And this is the way you will be representing what kind of a voltage? Alternating voltage or a sinusoidal voltage. Okay, please note it down. It's very super important. So V is equal to V naught sine omega t is a voltage that we use in our circuits. Done? Done? Noted it down? Okay, yes. I think everybody have noted it down. So I'm going to just rub it off. ठीक है. So okay. So this is our voltage. We know how the graph is looking like. On the y-axis we have V, and on the x-axis we have time. And now we also know how to express this voltage, whatever you are applying to a circuit, in the form of equation also. ये दोनों आपको अभी पता है या नहीं? अच्छे से? ठीक है. Now देख ले. You know that, or I have already told you, it is the alternating voltage what you apply in your houses. Right? It is the alternating voltage which is coming as a source to our houses or to the buildings in our country or in any of the country. Now, how many of you have thought this? Whenever someone asks you what is the incoming voltage to your houses, let's say it will be 220 volt, 230 or 240 volt we say. Usually it in India will be having 220 volt, right? So whenever we say it is a 220 volt, right, how can you justify that it is an alternating current? How a voltage which keeps on changing its value all the time can have a voltage of 220, or what this 220 volt is being referring to? Array, if you are having a value which keeps on changing, what do you say? You usually say it's average value, yes or no? Let's say that you are moving from your house to your uncle's place. Okay, you started your motion, and let's say you are moving with 20 kilometer per hour. Then you switched your speed to 30 kilometer per hour. After some time, it became 100 kilometer per hour. Then it became 120 kilometer per hour. Reaching your uncle's place, if your uncle asks your dad, what was the speed with which you came? What is the speed? Your dad will be telling, yes, the average speed with which you came. Let's say 60 kilometer per hour or 70 kilometer per hour. है ना? Similarly, if you are giving a voltage to a circuit which keeps on changing its value, when someone asks you what is the voltage you apply, you will be telling the average value of the voltage. Next question. Sir, ठीक है. We have to find out the average voltage, right? So average voltage for the voltage which is coming to our houses is 220. So tell me, generally, how can we find out this average voltage? That is your next question, है ना? हाँ, I'll tell you. For that, I'll give you an example. देख ले, there is 3 bags of sugar is there. What do we have? 3 bags of sugar. One kind of sugar bags contains 5 kilogram, and how many such bags are there? 2. Then there is 6 kilogram bags are there, and the number of such bags is 3. And let's also say some 8 kilogram bag is there, and the number of such bags is 4. The question is, what is the average value of sugar contained in a bag? What will you do? You will find out the average of the masses. How will you find out the average of the masses? 5 into 2 plus 6 into 3 plus 4 into 8 divided by the total number of bags. 4 plus 3, 7, right? 7 plus 2, 9, right? Isn't this the way you find out? Yes or no? 5 into 2, 6 into 3, 8 into 4, the whole divided by number of bags. Similarly, coming back. You know that At a particular point of time, the voltage is V1. At another time, it is V2. At another time, it is V3. At another time, it is V4. Right? So how can you find out the average value of voltage which is having different values at different times? M1, N1. So here V1, T1, V2, T2 plus V3, T3. But can we do summation here? Just like the case what we done here, can we do the summation? Nah. Kyun? Because we have so many innumerous number of points in this cycle for the voltage, so summation is not possible. In this cases, what will you do? Yes, we will do the integration. So V average is equal to V1 T1, V2 T2, V3 T3. Instead of doing the summation, integral of VDT divided by N1 plus N2 plus N3. So here T1 plus T2 plus T3. How will you write in the form of integration? dt integral. So this is how you find out the average value for voltage. समझ में आ गया? Understood? अच्छे से. This is very important. Very मतलब very super का duper और ऊपर का भी important है. So average value of potential is equal to VDT integral divided by integral of dt. Okay, so note it down, it's super important, है ना? So this is equation to find out average wala potential. Now someone is asking you, right, how to find out the average value of current? Array, it's simple. I average. If V average is V dt by integral of dt, I average will be equal to I dt integral by integral of dt. बस आ गया तो आ गया, समझ तो आ गया सबको, कोई गड़बड़ नहीं है ना? Okay. Now we know that whenever there is a variable value, we usually say it's a average value. And how to find out the average value? We know the equation, right? Now using this equation, let us find out the average value for a voltage that you apply. What is the value of voltage we apply? V equal to V naught sin omega t. Okay, shall we find out? देख ले. So V is equal to V naught sin omega t. We are going to find out the average value of the voltage in one complete cycle. This is one complete cycle. In one complete cycle, how to find out the average value of voltage? Tell me. Integral of V dt by integral of dt, right? And what is the variable here? Time. And time has to change from where to where? From 0 to a time period of t. सबको पता है ना what is time period? The total time required for completing one cycle is called as time period. ठीक है, integrate कर ले. 0 to t, 0 to t. बस. Integral dt, it's t, right? And from 0 to t, if you apply the limit, it is capital T only. Very simple part. Now we have to integrate the upper part, which will be a bit difficult. V is equal to, substitute कर ले, V naught sin omega t dt, right? Okay, then apply the integration, right? V naught sin omega t dt from where to where? From 0 to time period. Integrate कर ले. V naught constant. Does constant have anything to do inside integration? नहीं, बाहर आ जाएगा वो. V naught divided by t integral sin omega t. How many of you know what is integral of sin omega t? It is cos omega t with a minus divided by omega. है ना? और क्या? सर बिल्कुल. And now try to apply the limit from 0 to time period. बस. Now give the values. V naught divided by t omega cos of, try to apply the upper limit for a time. So omega, I'm going to write it as 2 pi by time period. From the chapter of waves and oscillation, सबको पता है, omega 2 pi by time period. Now for t, if you apply the upper limit multiplied by t minus applying the lower limit, cos of times 0, it will be cos 0. Tell me, tt cancel, what is cos 2 pi? 1 minus what is cos 0? 1. Arey baap re. We were supposed to find out the average value of the voltage and we got it as 0. Sir, how is this possible? We were supposed to get almost a numerical value. Let's say for the voltage which is coming to our houses, it is 230 volt or 220 volt. We were supposed to get such a kind of value, but how for an alternating voltage like this, we got the value as 0? Simple reason, because if you look into the cycle, this is completely symmetrical. We are having an upward curve and a downward curve. And if you add these two curves together, what happens? अरे ये curve तो positive है and equal amount of negative is there. So once you integrate मतलब finding out the area. If you find out the area and add them up, क्या हो जाएगा? 0 हो जाएगा, obviously. So this is not the method of finding out the average for an alternating current because it is having a negative curve. So there is a chance of this to get added up and to give a 0 value. So this is not the kind of average value we will be using to find out the voltage. So what kind of average finding we need? है ना? Isn't that your thought? बोल दे मुझे. हाँ sir, बिल्कुल. So how will you find out the average if this 0 positive curve and negative terms are getting cancelled? I'll tell you, it's very simple. This is giving a 0 value because there is a negative term. How can you avoid a negative term with a value? Let's say you have -2. How to avoid this negative sign? Yes, you can square the value and then find the root, right? -2 square will be 4. Then taking the root, you can get +2 value also. है ना? Yes or no? Yes. Similarly, in order to avoid the negative sign, what we will be doing is, instead of finding out the average of V, what we will do is, we will find out the average of V square. What are we going to do? Instead of finding out the average of V, we will find out the average of V square. If we take V square, this negative curve will also become positive. This will also be positive. Then find out the average. How will you find out the average of V square? Very simple. V square dt integral by integral of dt. So this is what? This is the mean, right? Or this is the average of V square. But we don't need the average of V square. We need the average of V. So -2, if you are squaring it, we have to take the root for getting the final answer. So if you are finding out the average of V square, at last what you have to do? Take the root. Bas, ho gaya. We got the average value of what? V right now. Understood? And this kind of taking out the average, we call it as, how many of you know? How many of you know the name for finding out this kind of average? Very good, very good, very good. Yes, it is root mean square value. It is the root of mean of the squared value. So this is another way of finding out the average. And when will we use these kind of finding the average? Whenever we are asked to find out the average of those values which are having negative numbers. ठीक है, सबको समझ में आ गया? जितना मुझे हिंदी आता है मैं बिल्कुल बोलेगा हिंदी पे. ठीक है रुचि? आरामस, बढ़िया 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 बढ़िया. Very good, amazing. So what is the kind of average value we will be using in this particular chapter? Is it the normal average? No, it is the RMS value for the voltage. Shall we find out the RMS value for the voltage for V equal to V naught sin omega t? और क्या सर, बिल्कुल अब कर ले. देख, we know that the voltage is V naught sin omega t. So now we are going to find out the RMS value for the voltage. How will you find out? First you have to find out the mean of the squared value, V square dt by integral of dt. Then after finding out the mean of the squared value, you have to take the root. root of mean of squared value. Squared value ka mean first find out, then take the root. The answer is in your hand. Substitute and find the answer. What is V? V naught sine omega t. So V square is equal to V naught square sine square omega t, right? The whole divided by integral of dt. Here also integral of dt from where to where? From 0 to t with the root. Okay, done. Integral of dt, everyone knows. What is it? T, capital T. V naught square is a constant. It will come outside. So V naught square by t with the root integral, right? How can I write sine square omega t? How many of you know? Simple trigonometry. 1 minus cos 2 omega t divided by 2. है ना? With dt. Any doubt in this? Any doubt in this? No, right? Okay, again. V naught square divided by 2t. Okay, then if you take this dt inside, integral of dt 1 dt minus integral of cos 2 omega t dt with the root and this inside the bracket 0 to t 0 to t. जल्दी से जल्दी फटाफट बता what can be the value for integral 0 to t cos 2 omega t. Let me see how many of you have understood this concept to its depth. Integral of 0 to t cos 2 omega t dt. How many of you can give me the answer for this? How many? How many? How many? Let me see. For the entire cycle of cos, if I integrate, what is the value I'm going to achieve? It's very simple. It's very simple. Nobody do remember. Arey baap re. Arey baap re. Do you remember this curve? Our sine curve. Okay. When we found out the normal average, we did integral of sine omega t dt. Right? While we integrated sine omega t dt, what was the value we got? It is having positive cycle and negative cycle. Once you add up in the form of integration, how much you got? You got it as 0. है ना? Keep this in mind. This is very important. Similarly, if you integrate cos 2 omega t dt over the entire time interval, कैसे हो जाएगा ये? देख ले, cos value. Okay, this is a cos curve. If you integrate this for the entire time period, how much it is? देख ले. Here also you can have equal amount of positive area and negative area. Once you add this up, how much you will get? Once you add this up, you will get value as 0. So from now onwards, do remember for the entire time period, matlab for the entire cycle, if you integrate sine or cos or anything like this, you will be getting the value as 0. समझ में आ गया? So this value will be how much? 0. So this will be equal to root of V naught square by 2t. Integral of dt how much? T. T cancel. Root of V naught square will become V naught divided by root. So this is the RMS value for the voltage. If you want me to write in a single line, the VRMS matlab a kind of finding out the average. A kind of finding out the average is equal to how much? V naught. V naught means the maximum value. This is the maximum value of voltage divided by the root 2. So whenever someone asks you what is the value for an alternating thing, matlab whether it is an alternating voltage or an alternating current, it's a RMS value is what we actually define or we will be telling. And how will you find out the RMS? The maximum value for the voltage divided by the root 2. Understood? Which means that 220 volt, what is it actually? That 220 volt, when we say that it is a voltage that is coming to our houses, what kind of voltage it is? It is the RMS voltage of the incoming alternating voltage. So VRMS is actually this 220 volt which is coming to our houses. Understood? So is it the maximum value? No. But from VRMS you can find out the maximum value. How? Because you know that VRMS is equal to V naught by root 2. This is equal to 220. So from here you can find out V naught, that is root 2 into 220. समझ में आ गया? So whenever let's say you are going to buy a bulb, right? So it will be written that 10 watts bar let's say 200 volt. What does it mean? It means that the bulb will be giving out a power of 10 watts if you can apply a 200 voltage across it. And this 200 voltage that is specified when you buy any instruments, or even in the case of a bulb, according to our example, this will be the RMS value for the voltage. So we always specify with the devices or anything, it is the RMS value of the voltage we do. ठीक है? So keep this in mind. It is super duper duper का भी ऊपर important है. Mark it. Understood? So VRMS is equal to V naught divided by root 2. Crystal clear? Satya, Ram. बढ़िया 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 बात है. Amazing. Before doing the questions, ठीक है? Let me ask you, if VRMS is equal to V naught by root 2, similarly, if someone asks you, what is the RMS value for the current? Current का RMS value कैसे? अरे, if you want to find out the RMS value of the current, same kind of formula. IRMS is equal to I naught, मतलब the maximum value of the current divided by root 2. समझ में आ गया? अनुपमा, सुदीप, शरीका, अदिति, Anna. Okay? Yes? Okay, very good. Piyush, thank you so much. Thank you so much. So IRMS is equal to I naught by root 2. VRMS is equal to V naught by root 2. ठीक है? Now, how will you make an equation with I naught, V naught and resistance? I naught matlab the maximum value for the current. Maximum value for the current is equal to maximum value of the voltage by resistance. सबको पता है. And if you want to find out the RMS value for the current, what do you have to do? Yes. Then it is the RMS value for the voltage by resistance. So I maximum is equal to maximum voltage by resistance. IRMS is equal to VRMS divided by resistance. ठीक है? Note कर ले. बहुत बड़ा important. We are going to proceed further. ठीक है? Sir, और क्या? बिल्कुल proceed कर ले आप. Okay. Now, okay, so the questions are here. I don't think we have to do Menti here because the number of students are very less. Should we be doing Menti? Menti करना है क्या बच्चा लोग बता? Okay, so I'll do 1-2 mentees. Let's see the number of participants in the mentee quiz. If there are enough number of participants, we'll continue with mentee. ठीक है? नहीं तो we'll be just doing it as a questions. ठीक है, देख ले. Okay, so those who want to join mentee, जल्दी से join कर ले. If the participants are about 10, then we'll be continuing with the mentee throughout the session. ठीक है? The code is 26932068. What's the code? 26932068. जल्दी फटाफट join कर ले सब. I can see two. Who are these two people? I can see a lion, and I also can see someone rowing a boat. Who are these? Jaldi fatafat. The code for joining Menti, or those who don't know how to join Menti, what do you have to do? Take your Internet Explorer or your Google Chrome or whatever you have, right? Then go type www.menti.com. Okay, and the code that you have to use there is 26932068. Jaldi. So we just have two students. Okay, the third student just joined. So Kumar Yash is the boat. Okay. So I think we just have three students. There is no point at all in doing this Menti here. हाँ मैं तो वेट कर रहा हूँ. Okay, I think this will be the open नहीं हो रहा है. ठीक है. So we'll be just doing it as a normal question from next question onwards. ठीक है. So Sudeeva, you are the boat. Okay. Mine is not opening, so many are having troubles with this. So yes, we'll start with the first question. Jaldi, jaldi, fatafat. A resistor 20 ohm is connected to a source of alternating current rated 110 volt and 50 hertz. Which voltage will this be? I told you, whenever you rate any device, the voltage that will be given along with that device will be RMS or the maximum. RMS, I already have told you, right? Okay. Find the RMS current and the maximum instantaneous current. So we need to find out RMS current also, I naught, which is the maximum current also. You have 30 seconds more. Simple. Those who want to join, जल्दी से join कर सकता है. 17, 16, 15. 10 more seconds. Everyone has voted, and three students. Very good, very good. Badhiya, badhiya, badhiya baat hai. Okay, very good. Let me see who those three students are who understood the concepts to its depth. Shruti, Satya, Ted. Okay, Miara is like she's in a revolution and she's like we want Menti. Menti to chahiye sir. क्या करूँ Miara? We have very less number of students, है ना? So let's say if there are live students of at least above 40, we can do the Menti for next question. ठीक है? नहीं तो I am totally helpless. अरे यार. ठीक है. Very simple question. You won't be finding a simple question than this. So voltage is given. I told you whenever any specific device is being rated, the voltage that will be given will be it will be VRMS, right? अरे यार पेन आ जाइए भाई आजा हाँ. So this specified voltage here for this particular resistor is the RMS voltage. How much it is? 110. Frequency is given, but we don't need frequency for this particular question. Resistor is also given. Resistance of the resistor is 20 ohms. Question is the RMS current. For finding IRMS, we need VRMS. I just have told you. Divided by resistance. What is IRMS? Sorry, VRMS, it's 110 divided by 20. 11 by 2, it is 5.5 unit ampere. ठीक है, बहुत simple. Next is maximum current. We know that IRMS, how will you find out? I naught divided by root 2. So the question is, what is I naught? तो वो क्या है? √2 into IRMS. There is nothing to discuss about it. √2 is 1.4 and IRMS is 5.5. And which one you can choose? Arre, don't do the mathematics there. So you have two answer with IRMS as 5.5 and the second part of the question answer is 7.8 and 3.6. Which one will you choose? You can go with the option A. Don't do the problem, ठीक है? Okay, because whenever you write a multiple choice question, you will be having less number of time. Save your time because you already have the answer. Okay. So how did I know that it is 7.8? देख ले, I naught is 1.4 into 5.5, a value greater than 5.5. So it is 7.8. Okay. So someone will be asking, sir, why not the option D with 7.8? Why can't we go with that? देख ले, for that the IRMS value is given as 2 ampere. We know that IRMS is 5.5. So keep on practicing all the MCQ questions in this way. Look into the options, try to get the answer from there instead of doing the entire mathematical problems. ठीक है? बढ़िया? और क्या सर? बिल्कुल बढ़िया. Now we know what is alternating voltage. We know what is an alternating current. है ना? Now what we are going to see is what will happen when we apply this alternating voltage or when we apply this alternating current to a resistance. Okay, this is what we are going to find out. Shall we? Yes, let us begin. Here we go. We have a resistor. We know that how the resistor will be acting whenever we provide direct current, but this time it is not direct current. We are going to be applying an alternating voltage, and the kind of alternating voltage we usually apply is V equal to V naught sin omega t. A sinusoidal voltage is you apply, and this is the way you represent that it is a sine voltage or an alternating voltage. ठीक है? This is the resistance. Now you know that whenever the voltage that is provided by this particular source is V, can you tell me where this voltage that is being supplied by the source will be dropped? Whatever is the voltage you are supplying, it will be entirely dropped across the resistor. Any doubt in that? Any doubt in that? No. Why? Because there is only one component in the circuit, that is resistor. So V is equal to VR. है ना? Yes or no? So how will you find out the voltage across a resistor? The formula, the current passing through the resistor into its resistance is equal to V. Yes or no? Yes. So now we get the equation for current I is equal to V divided by R. So the current at any point of time is equal to the voltage at that given point of time divided by resistance. Voltage is a value which keeps on changing. So the current is also a value which keeps on changing its value. ठीक है? Let us substitute for V. What is V? V naught sin omega t divided by resistance. Bus. Can you tell me what will this be? V naught is the maximum value for the voltage. So maximum value for the voltage by resistance will give you what? Yes, maximum voltage by resistance will give you the maximum value for the current I naught. So this V naught by R is equal to I naught sin omega t. So current I is equal to I naught sin omega t, where I naught is equal to, this everyone knows, V naught divided by resistance. V naught matlab maximum value of voltage by resistance will give you the maximum value for the current. ठीक है? Understood? So the value for the current I is equal to I naught sin omega t. Any doubt in this? Now let us try to compare these two equations. V is equal to V naught sin omega t. I is equal to I naught sin omega t. ठीक है? Now how many of you know the name we use to call the term inside the sine or cos? What do you call this? What do you call this angle inside the sine or cos whenever you write voltage or current or anything which is undergoing oscillation? Do you remember the value inside the sine or cos? इसका नाम? किसको याद है? किसको याद है ये ओमेगा टी का वैल्यू? हाय राशि, हाय म्यारा. अरे दिस इज कॉल्ड एज phase. Yes or a no? This is what we call it as a phase. Very good, Anna. Very good. Amazing, amazing, amazing. Angular velocity is omega. I asked you what is omega into t. That is called as the phase of this particular physical quantity. Here it is voltage. Now, what will be the phase here? This is also. Now, if you try to compare the phase of the current and the voltage, what is the simple thing that you can make from here? What you can say? The phase of voltage, phi V, phi means phase of voltage, and phase of the current are the same. Yes or no? Both are having the same phase, which means the angle inside for the sine and sine for voltage and current is the same. है ना? Phi V is equal to phi I. So phi V minus phi Y is equal to 0. है या नहीं? मतलब delta phi is equal to 0 for a circuit where an alternating voltage is applied across a resistor. What is 0? The phase difference is 0. Those who have learned this chapter before, I know that you might have learned this, that in a resistor circuit where voltage is applied, phase difference 0 hota hai. But how many of you know what do you mean by this? What is the simple understanding that you should be making from this particular term of a phase difference is equal to 0? You need to know what it is, right? So, देखिए, what do you mean by the phase difference is equal to 0? Everyone, I hope you all have noted down till here. Shall we proceed? ठीक है, देख ले. Now, we know that V equal to V naught sine omega t, and current I is equal to I naught sine omega t. So these two things we already know, right? And we also know that the phase difference is equal to 0. Now we are here to investigate what do you mean by this phase difference is equal to 0. For understanding this, you need to draw the graph for the voltage and current. Shall we? First, let me draw the graph for the voltage. Which color will I choose? I'll choose white. So how much is it? V equal to V naught sine omega t. It will be exactly looking like a sine curve. So let's say this is the graph for voltage, and this will be what? The amplitude of this curve will be V naught, the maximum value. Any doubt in this? कुछ भी नहीं. Now let us draw the graph of current in the same one. क्या color चाहिए आपको? We'll use blue color, right? Tell me how the graph of the current will be looking like. Its amplitude is I naught. How will you find I naught? V naught by R. So it is V naught by R, matlab it is lesser than, if resistance is a value greater than 1, I naught will be lesser than V naught, which means the amplitude of the current graph will be lesser. ठीक है. And from where should it be starting? It should be starting from the same point, matlab it should be starting from the origin itself, because when time equal to 0, omega into 0 is 0, sine 0 हो गया 0. matlab the value for current when time equal to 0 is 0. Start from the origin. How will the graph be? ऐसे. And this maximum value we call it as I naught. Now, if you look into this particular graph, you can understand the simple term meaning of phase difference is equal to 0. It simply means when the voltage is 0, current is 0. When voltage is maximum, current is maximum. When voltage is again 0, it is 0. When voltage is maximum in the opposite direction, the current is also maximum in the opposite direction. Matlab, they are making the motion or they are making the movement in a corresponding fashion. When voltage is maximum, current is maximum. When the other one is 0, the other one is 0. They are moving in an aligned fashion. You will be knowing that, हाँ sir, ये तो हमको पता है. This one you know. But when we go to the application of alternating voltage across inductor and capacitor, you will be finding something new and different here. There you will find out that when the voltage is maximum, the current is not maximum, it is zero actually, right? You will be finding, and we are gonna find out it together. ठीक है? Okay, very good. So phase difference 0, voltage we got it, right? Next, what is remaining in this particular resistance circuit? Very simple. The simple thing that is remaining is what? Yes, finding out the power of a circuit. Let's see how can we find out the power of an resistor circuit. Power का formula बोल दे, बोल दो ना जरा बच्चा लोग. Power, yes, voltage into current. Voltage का formula V naught sin omega t, isn't it? And current का formula I naught sin omega t. This is equal to V naught I naught sin square omega t. So this is the instantaneous value for the power where an alternating voltage is applied across a resistor. कोई गड़बड़ नहीं, अच्छे से समझ में आ गया, ठीक है. Now we know that when someone asks you what is the power of a circuit, will you be telling the instantaneous value for the power? Now the power will keep on changing its value because it is related to time. When the time changes, sign changes. When sign value changes, the power value also changes, right? So power is also a variable here. So tell me, when someone asks you what is the power of a circuit, right, what you will be telling? The average value of the power. Just like we have used a concept in just like we have used a concept in our voltage and the current, right? So here also we can use a concept of average of the power. So how will we find out the average value of the power? What is the normal method of finding out the average? Power average is equal to integral of P dt by, same formula, everyone knows. We are not finding RMS value average, we are finding out the normal average. Why we are not finding RMS here? Because there was a positive curve and negative curve. Either there won't be negative curve because already the term is a square term. So there is no need of finding out the RMS value average. The normal average itself is sufficient. Substitute for P, V naught I naught sin square omega t, that is power dt by integral of dt. Tell me, what is the value for sin square omega t dt by integral of dt? Which means average of sin square omega t dt by integral of dt. How many of you know? किसको पता है? Anna, Aruna, Anisha, Satya, Mansi, Sharika. बता दे जल्दी. What will be the average value of sin square omega t dt by integral of dt? Value. You do remember when we were finding out the RMS value, we have found out the integral of sin square omega t dt by integral of dt. याद है? Sin square omega t we have written as 1 minus cos 2 omega t by 2. Then cos 2 omega t average we got it as 0. What was remaining? 1 by 2. याद नहीं है? So I'm not going to do the integration here again because we have done it in the 10 minutes before while we were dealing with the RMS value for the voltage. So those who forgot that, please do rewind and watch it. So integral sin square omega t by dt we have done 10 minutes before, it is 1 by 2. So average value power is equal to, power average is equal to V naught I naught divided by 2. Shall I write in a different way? V naught by root 2 I naught by root 2. ये V naught by root 2 क्या है? How many of you know what is V naught by root 2? अरे भूल गया, what is V naught by root 2? V naught by root 2 was VRMS and I naught by root 2 was IRMS. So in a resistor circuit, if you are applying a voltage, right, the average power is equal to Vrms into IRMS. Formula Vrms into IRMS. All these are super important things. You will be finding questions from all these part in many of the questions. Okay? So note it down, and once you have noted this down, we will proceed. ठीक है? हो गया तो हो गया, है ना? और क्या, बिल्कुल सर, बिल्कुल आप प्रोसीड कर ले. So there is a small problem here. An AC voltage source has an output of delta V is equal to 200 V sine 2 pi f. What is 2 pi f? Omega is equal to 2 pi f. So instead of writing omega, they have written as 2 pi f t. This source is connected to a 100 ohm resistor. RMS current in the resistor is very simple actually. How many of you can find this? How many of you can find the RMS current in this? इतना छोटू सा सवाल कभी से नहीं मिलेगा जिंदगी पे आपको. हाँ, बोल दे जल्दी जल्दी जल्दी. We know that. What is the question? Okay, Vrms. Is RMS voltage directly given? No. But we know that the coefficient of sine will be the maximum value of voltage. Again, those who don't remember, go for the general equation for V. V is equal to V naught sine omega t. So whatever is the coefficient of sine or cos, that will be the maximum value for the voltage. So here the coefficient of sine or cos is how much? 200. So this 200 is not Vrms, it is the maximum value for the voltage, that is 200. Okay. So is it possible to find RMS voltage here from here? Yes. Vrms is V naught by root 2, that is 200 by root 2. ठीक है, Vrms भी मिल गया. Is that the question? No. The question हमको, what we have to find out is RMS current. बोल दे. IRMS कैसे? For finding out IRMS, we need Vrms. ठीक है sir, and divided by resistance, the normal formula. Vrms is how much? 200 by root 2 and the resistance is 100. है ना? 100 है ना? हाँ, 100 ohm. So 200 by 100, 2 by root 2 is root 2. So the value for IRMS is equal to root 2. Unit is very important. It is ampere. Root 2 ampere. Yes. Okay. अरे भारत एंड मियारा, आई थिंक you 2-3 people will only be there in the मेंडी. तो मेंडी करने का जरूरत भी क्या है? So is it clear सबको? कोई डाउट्स नहीं? कोई भी डाउट नहीं है ना? ठीक है, सब बढ़िया. Okay. Okay, so we'll do the Menti. At least let there be 30 plus students in the classroom. वो तो नहीं है. I did the Menti in our 11th standard classes, right? Because there were enough students, 40 plus 50 students were there. Okay. So yes, let's see. So you can share the class with all your friends if every one of them is going to come, and if we have enough students in the classroom, तो बिल्कुल. So it is your responsibility. If you want Menti, 30 plus students in the classroom. ठीक है? Okay. We'll proceed. So that part is over. That part is over मतलब applying an AC across a resistor. Now थोड़ा तो मुश्किल हो जाएगा. Now क्योंकि because here we are going to apply an alternating voltage across a capacitor. देख ले सब, अच्छे से देख ले, very important. Okay, each and every lines I'm going to tell from here is so much important. So I hope you all do know about capacitors, which we have learned in the chapter of electrostatics, है ना? So here we have a capacitor of capacitance C. Across this capacitor, I am applying an alternating voltage. Formula V naught sine omega t. Okay. If you apply this voltage of V equal to V naught sine omega t, what happens? The current will start flowing. Hai ya nahi? The current will start flowing in this direction. The current will start flowing and it will start charging this capacitor. हमको भी पता है, if a potential difference is applied, the capacitor will get charged, right? And let's say the amount of charge present at some random time is equal to Q. इधर तक समझ में आ गया? Alternating voltage applied, current will start flowing, some charge will be deposited on this capacitor plate, let's say it is Q. Now what we have to find out is, what is the current that is produced in the circuit and what is its maximum value, what is its phase difference. These are the things that we have to find out from here. ठीक है? Let's start. Here we go. We know that, हमको क्या पता है? The voltage that you apply, V. Tell me, where is it getting deposited? Where is it getting dropped? Is it getting dropped across a resistor? No. Is it getting dropped across the inductor? No. There is no other device here. So whatever is the voltage V you apply, it will be completely dropped across where? Across the capacitor Vc. How many of you know the formula for voltage across a capacitor if the charge is Q and capacitance is C? Jaldi. It is Q by C. है ना? और क्या? And V को what can I substitute? V is equal to V naught sine omega t. Tell me why we are doing all these, why we are taking this much of pain? Yes, in order to find out the current in the circuit. Bas. Tell me what Q will be equal to? Q will be equal to CV naught sine omega t. है ना? Why we were here? We need current. But sir, we can't see any term related to current here. Can we see? No. But you might be knowing one particular relationship between current and the charge. I equal to dq by dt. ये तो सबको पता है from your current electricity chapter or even from your lower classes. This is d by dt of Q is equal to how much? CV naught sine omega t. This is I. CV naughts are constant, come outside. Differential of sine cos omega t into differential of omega t is omega. है ना? Yes. So how will I write this? V naught. Yes, C omega, can you see? I am just writing it as a denominator, 1 by C omega. No difference I have made because 1 by C omega, it goes up as C omega itself. I have written in this form. There is a particular reason for it. Within some seconds, you will get to know. ठीक है. Now tell me, how will I write cos omega t as? Cos omega t can be written as sine omega t plus pi by 2. Any doubt in this? So we got the value for current in the circuit as I equal to V naught by 1 by C omega sine omega t plus pi by 2. I have told you, right? When I was explaining with resistors, you seen that the current and the voltage was moving together in a corresponding fashion. Either it is not going to happen because phase difference is there. I'll explain about phase difference later. Now, let us focus on this part of the current. Okay, this part of the equation. Okay, you will be getting an idea about this part of the equation once you do write the equation for the resistor. The resistor circuit, what was the formula? I equal to I naught sine omega t. Yes or no? What was I naught equal to? V naught by R sine omega t. सबको पता है. We have learned current is equal to V naught by R sine omega t, right? So the coefficient of sine is V naught by R, which is giving us the maximum value for the current. So here I is equal to some coefficient of sine. So how much is this coefficient of sine is? The coefficient of sine here is V naught divided by 1 by c omega. And what will V naught by 1 by c omega will be giving you? The coefficient of sine. Coefficient of sine was I naught. So here also the coefficient of sine will be giving us the maximum value of the current. So the maximum value of a current in a capacitor circuit, if you are applying an alternating voltage, kitna? V naught divided by 1 by c omega. Again compare it with the equation. I naught is V naught by R. Here I naught is V naught by 1 by c omega. Now if you compare these two, what can you tell? Just tell me, what will it be? What will 1 by c omega be in an capacitor circuit once you compare it with the resistor circuit? Yes, if current is equal to voltage by resistance always. So here current is equal to voltage by 1 by c omega. So what is 1 by c omega actually? 1 by c omega, what is it? 1 by c omega is actually the resistance offered by the capacitor circuit to an alternating voltage. So 1 by c omega is the resistance of a capacitor circuit. We call it as XC. XC, which is the resistance of a capacitor circuit in an alternating voltage presence, is 1 by c omega. इसका नाम है capacitive reactance. So what is 1 by c omega? Bol do na zara. Very good. I can see that many of you are giving the answers. Very good, Satya, Miara, Sharika, then Sanchana. Very good. So 1 by c omega is the resistance offered by the capacitor circuit to an alternating voltage. कोई डाउट है तो बता, इधर तक कोई डाउट है तो बता. I'll explain. Because this is a very important chapter. Super duper का भी ऊपर important chapter है ये. Okay, so कोई गड़बड़ नहीं, इधर तक सबको समझ में आ गया? हाँ संजना. Okay, now let us discuss a bit more thing forward. Right? Okay. The points to be noted down from here: V equal to V naught sin omega t. I equal to V naught by 1 by c omega is what? It is the I naught value sin omega t plus pi by 2. Now try to compare, or let us compare the phases in the next page. So I hope everybody have noted this down. Okay, I'm gonna moving to the next page. V equal to V naught sin omega t. I'm writing the same thing whatever we had got in the previous page. I is equal to V naught by 1 by c omega sin omega t plus pi by 2, and this 1 by c omega is called as the capacitor reactance. We have discussed it here, है ना? देख ले. Now try to compare the phase of the voltage, which is omega t, and phase of the current. Are they the same? बिल्कुल नहीं. Okay, there is a phase difference. And can you tell me who is having a larger value in the case of phase, whether it is voltage or the current? Which one is having a larger value? It is the current, है ना? And how much is that largeness? How much is the greater? By what value the phase of the current is greater than the phase of the voltage? By 90 degree, isn't it? By 90 degree. So by 90 degree, current leads voltage. What is it? If you compare the phases, we can see that the current is having an extra value of pi by 2. So we say that current is leading the voltage by an angle of 90 degree. Now You understood all these numerical values and you also have understood, हाँ sir ठीक है, current is a leading voltage. इसका मतलब क्या है? What do you mean by that? What do you mean by the current is actually leading by the voltage by 90 degree? There should be some meaning or definition which you must be understanding, right? ठीक है, वो देख ले अभी, which is the point you need to be knowing with this particular statement. For that, let us draw the graph. First, I'll draw the graph of this. V equal to V naught sine omega t. This is time. Okay. Tell me when time is equal to 0, what is the value for voltage? V naught sine omega into 0. 0. Sine 0 is how much? 0. Matlab, the graph of voltage, which we already know, ऐसे हो जाएगा, है ना? और क्या? हाँ sir, बिल्कुल. It will be like this. Now tell me how the graph will be looking like for a current. V naught by 1 by c omega is I naught sine omega t plus pi by 2. Tell me what will the value of a current be when time equal to 0. At this point, when time equal to 0, let's see what is the value for current. Put t equal to 0, omega into 0 plus 90. So this will be sine 90, right? What is sine 91? So the value of current will be how much? The value of current will be I naught when time equal to 0. So if you draw the graph, how will it be? Time 0, the current will be here, right? And the graph will be proceeding like this. It's a normal sine graph. It's a normal sine graph. Okay. So this is how the graph of current will be looking like, and this is how the graph of the voltage will be looking like. What is the simple inference and the observation you can make from here? जल्दी से देकर बता. What is the simple inference or the observation you can make from here? The current is leading the voltage by 90. Are you able to understand by looking into the graph? बिल्कुल देख ले. When the voltage is 0, the current is having the maximum value. Here, when the voltage is maximum, current का value कितना है? 0. When voltage is 0, the current is having the negative maximum. So now you might have understood the word meaning of current leads the voltage by 90 degree, which means they are not moving correspondingly like it was moving in a resistor circuit. समझ में आ गया सबको? सबको समझ में आ गया? बिल्कुल बहुत बड़ा important है. Super important concepts these are, note it down. Okay? So any doubts if you have, please let me know, or else we can proceed. Now we are going to learn about Phasor diagram. Yo, आ गया तो आ गया, समझ तो आ गया, है ना? बिल्कुल आ गया. So हम proceed कर रहे हैं, ठीक है? And let us understand what is Phasor diagram. Let us understand what is a Phasor diagram, which is very important. I'll mark it here. Okay. What is a Phasor diagram? The name itself will tell you. It's a diagram where we can easily understand the phase relationship between the voltage and the current. That's it, right? We can easily understand, okay, which one is leading, which one is lagging. So you can easily get an idea how the voltage and the currents are actually changing. So such kind of a diagram which will help us the phase relationship between current and the voltage. Phasor diagram. Shall we see? देख ले. How to draw a phasor diagram? Go step by step. Draw the x coordinate and the y coordinate, or the x axis or y axis, or two mutually perpendicular lines. Now let's see how can we draw the phasor for the voltage, which is equal to V naught sine omega t, right? The things that you should be taking care of. First, you should be drawing a line in this graph, okay, where the length of the line is corresponding to the maximum value for the voltage V naught. So you just have to draw a line where the length of the line is corresponding to the maximum value of the voltage. Done. And the angle this particular line makes with the x-axis will be the phase of that particular quantity. Bas, phasor of this particular voltage is done. Done. Now, if you look into, this is V naught, this is omega t, matlab an angle, right? Can you tell me what will be the perpendicular component of this voltage will be, or the vertical component? This is V naught, this is omega t, this is the cos component, and this is the sine component. Which means if you can take the vertical component of the voltage from the phasor diagram, it will give you the present value for the voltage. This is an extra information, right? But we don't use this particular concept in the case of a phasor diagram. It is not the use of a phasor diagram, because phasor diagram is usually used to understand the phase angles. Okay, done. Now let us draw what? Yes, the phasor for current formula, I equal to I naught sine omega t plus pi by 2. How will you draw this? You have to draw a line where the length of the line is corresponding to the maximum value of the quantity. Here it is I naught, and the angle it makes with the x-axis will be equal to its phase. What is the phase angle here? Is it omega t? No, omega t plus pi by 2. So starting from the x-axis, how will you get it? From here till here omega t is covered. So from this point you have to cover how much more? 90 more. Okay, so this is how the phasor for the current will be looking like. Okay, check whether all the conditions for a phasor is being satisfied or not. The length of the line will be corresponding to its magnitude. Don't look, sir, why the length is so big. So I just have drawn a normal figure, right? It will be small usually, because you know that current has to be lesser than voltage, because current is equal to voltage by resistance in most of the cases, right? So yes, so the length will be corresponding to its maximum value, and the angle it makes with the x-axis. How much is this angle? The angle that it makes with the x-axis should be showing the phase of that particular phasor. What is it? Omega t plus pi by 2, is it? Till here it is omega t and pi by 2 more. So this is omega t plus pi by 2. Now, just by looking into the phasor diagram, you can simply say what is the phase relationship between the current and the voltage. How many of you can tell? हाँ, with a simple smile on your faces आपको ऐसे ही कर सकता है. हाँ, the current leads the voltage by 90 degree. Yes or no? Can't you simply say that by looking into the figure? And this is the simple use of a phasor diagram. आ गया तो आ गया, समझ तो आ गया, है ना? So yes, so current I is equal to I naught sine omega t plus pi by 2. V is equal to V naught sine omega t, and this is how you draw the phasor diagram. And from phasor diagram, you can easily understand the phase difference. Thank you so much, Anna. Satya, Cody, Kumar Vash, very good. Thank you so much. Okay, so I think this is clear. And do let me remind you, I naught ka value, I hope you do remember, because we are talking about capacitor circuit, by heart it, right? Current leads the voltage by 90 degree. Capacitor circuit, current leads the voltage by 90 degree, very important. And I naught ka value, that is equal to V naught divided by V naught by its resistance, like the usual formula for current. Current is voltage by resistance, and here in the case of a capacitor we call it as capacitive reactance, V naught by 1 by C omega. गड़बड़ कुछ भी नहीं है ना? क्लियर है, बिल्कुल क्लियर है, ठीक है, प्रोसीड करूं और क्या सर। सो दोस्त वांट टू टेक अ स्क्रीनशॉट, जल्दी से कर ले। सो 3 2 1 डन डन डन। Okay, so one last thing from the capacitor circuit, finding out the power. Formula for power is equal to voltage into current, right? What is voltage? V naught sin omega t. Current is I naught sin omega t plus pi by 2. V naught I naught sin omega t. What is sin omega t plus pi by 2? हाँ, cos omega t. Yes or no? V naught I naught. कुछ याद आ रहा है इसे देखकर? Getting any thought? Sin omega t cos omega t. अरे 2 sin theta cos theta. ये तो याद है ना? 2 sin theta cos theta is equal to sin 2 theta, right? So sin omega t cos omega t, sin theta cos theta is equal to sin 2 theta by 2, है ना? This is instantaneous value for power. ठीक है सर, हमको ये तो समझ में आ गया. So whenever someone asks you about a circuit and whenever someone asks you इस circuit का power क्या है, if someone asks you, what will you be telling? Is it the instantaneous value tell? You'll be telling the average value, है ना? और क्या सर, बिल्कुल. And those who said और क्या सर, आप लोगों को this equation will also be known to you, the equation to find out the average वाला power, integral p dt by dt. हाँ, तो substitute कर ले. V naught I naught by 2 sin 2 omega t, right? Power is equal to V naught I naught by 2 sin 2 omega t dt by integral of dt. V naught I naught by 2. I'm not tell you, मैं तो बिल्कुल नहीं बताएगा. बोल दे इंटेग्रल साइन 2 ओमेगा टी dt का वैल्यू क्या है? इंटेग्रल साइन 2 ओमेगा टी dt का वैल्यू क्या है? जल्दी से जल्दी, फटाफट, जल्दी जल्दी जल्दी. साइन का, इंटेग्रल कॉस का. I told you, if you integrate sine or integrate cos, there are positive curves and negative curves. They will get added up, and after getting added up, वैल्यू कितना हो जाएगा? वेरी गुड शारिका. एन सुयोग, वो तो 0 हो जाएगा. सो वी ऑलरेडी हैव डिस्कस्ड. मतलब the value for the average power is becoming 0. अरे बाप रे. In an capacitor circuit, even though we are providing the voltage and the charges to the capacitor, power तो 0 आ रहा है. ये कैसे? I know that this is what many of you are thinking, है ना? So ये कैसे हो सकता है? Shall we explain this? Just by looking into the graph को देखकर we'll understand how the power is becoming 0. Okay, so for this particular thing, we need to draw the graph of voltage. V naught sin omega t. Let us draw. It's a normal sine graph. Where the maximum value is V naught. Okay, we are going to explain why the power is having a 0 value. ठीक है. Now current I is equal to I naught sin omega t plus pi by 2, which means even though it is time is equal to 0, at this point sine of 90 it will be, and the current will be having the maximum value. We already have discussed this. So how the graph is? It starts from here, ऐसे, 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 and ऐसे. So this is the graph for current. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to divide this into 4 parts. First part, second part, third part, and the fourth part. Okay. Now, which color is baki? Okay. Now, look into the first part. What is the sign of current? Positive, because it is on the top of the graph. What about the voltage? Will be positive. So, power is voltage into current. So, positive into positive, the power will be positive and the graph of power will be looking like this. I think it will be red color to use. Okay. So, this will be the power. Okay. The power will be positive in the first quarter. Second quarter pe dekhiye. Here we have voltage, the white color graph positive, and the blue color graph which is for current is negative. So when we find out power, positive into negative, ये क्या हो जाएगा? Negative. So how will be the graph for power? ठीक है. Moving to the third part, third quadrant, voltage is negative, white color, and the blue color which is current also negative. Power, voltage into current. So here negative into negative, ये हो जाएगा positive. And similarly, here one is positive and the other is negative. So while finding out the power, you will be getting negative. So now you can, or you might have understood why the power, average power over one cycle is 0, because you are having two positive cycles and two negative cycles. So once you find out the average power, they are getting cancelled off and giving us the value of 0. समझ में आ गया सबको? Very good, Takpreet. Very good, very good, very good, very good. So we have an amazing student in the classroom. So very good. समझ में आ गया सबको? कोई भी डाउट नहीं? बिल्कुल. Okay. So we are going to proceed. Okay, ठीक है. बिल्कुल बढ़िया. देख ले. So सब बढ़िया ना? So we have Anna, Cody, Suyo, Killer Girl, Miara, Sanchana, Satya, Sharika, Anisha. So done. So this is everything you should be knowing about a capacitor circuit. Current leads the voltage by 90 degree. There is a resistance offered by capacitor circuit. We call it as capacitive reactance, formula 1 by C omega. Right, and the average power is becoming as 0. Understood? Done. Now let us proceed further. Phasor diagram we did. Okay, so we have a question here. I don't think there is a point of doing the question as Menti. Menti करना है क्या? Okay, anyway, I'll try this time also. If there are students joining for the Menti, then we'll be continuing it as Menti. नहीं तो those who are very first time for using Menti, what you have to do for joining this quiz, you have to go to www.menti.com and the code that you have to use is 26932068. Okay, so shall we start the third question? And I can see only 4 students. This is the reason why I don't do Menti. इसीलिए मैं Menti नहीं करता हूँ. So जल्दी आ जा. Those who want to join Menti, जल्दी जल्दी. So in the meanwhile, I'll plug my charger also. So last 10 more seconds, you all have to join till I plug my phone, because phone switch off हो गया था. I won't be able to look into your chats. Okay, shall we start? In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. A capacitor of 12 microfarad is joined to an AC source of frequency 200 Hz. Okay. The RMS current in the circuit is 2 ampere. So we have a frequency, we have a current, the RMS voltage across the capacitor. Very simple, right? If you have the current and if you can find out the resistance of the circuit, बिल्कुल आपको voltage तो कर सकता है. So ठीक है, last 30 seconds you all have to answer. जल्दी से जल्दी फटाफट. Thirty, 12, 10 seconds last. 9, 8, 7. Time is up. Okay, 2 students got it correct. And let me see who these 2 students are. Okay, Shruti and Sharika got it correct. And Shruti was the fastest person also to give the answer this time. Very good, Shruti. Satya, Anna, Sharika, Trish. Okay, very good. Badhiya, badhiya, badhiya. So, whoever is having trouble, let's see how this question can be done. Okay. Okay. A capacitor of capacitance is joined to a frequency. RMS current is also given. RMS voltage is something which we don't know, right? Now, directly we know the equation as I naught is equal to V naught divided by 1 by C omega. ये सबको पता है. But this is an equation connecting the maximum value for the current and the maximum value of voltage. But the question is regarding the RMS voltage, right? So what is RMS voltage? V naught by root 2. If I am adding root 2 here, we also have to add root 2 here also on the left hand side of the equation. तो अब तो problem ही खत्म हो गया, because I naught by root 2 is IRMS. IRMS into 1 by C omega is equal to V naught by root 2 हो गया VRMS. Now we have the value for VRMS. Just substitute this values, that's it. What is IRMS? RMS value for the current 2 into 1 by C capacitance 12 into 10 power minus 6, 12 microfarad it is, 12 into 10 power minus 6. I am writing on the top directly, right? Then frequency, we know omega is equal to 2 pi f. Hey ya nahi? So let me write 2 into 3.14 into frequency is how much? 200. है ना? और क्या सर? बिल्कुल. So ये कितना हो जाएगा? 2 will cancel, right? Then what do we have? This 2 zeros will cancel. So this is 10 power 4. So 2 cancel हो गया. So 12 into 2 is 24. 24 into 3 is equal to 75. So this will be almost going around as how much? 133 volt. है ना? So we'll be getting the value almost as option A. है या नहीं? छोटू छोटू छोटू. है ना? छोटू 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 छोटू. So we get the option A as our answer. ठीक है? So shall we proceed? So we are done with the part of capacitance or the capacitor. Now what we have is related to inductor, है ना? Any doubt with capacitors? If you have, you can ask me, or नहीं तो we'll proceed further. Let us proceed, है ना? ठीक है, बिल्कुल बढ़िया. Now what we are going to do is, we have a connected alternating voltage across resistor. Capacitor is done. Now what is only left is inductor. सबको पता है ना what an inductor is? A coil or a solenoid. where whenever we apply an alternating current, a self-induction happens from the chapter of EMI. When we apply a changing current, what will happen? Self-induction happens in an inductor. Yaad hai, I hope. We are applying an alternating voltage formula V0 sine omega t across this inductor. Okay. So here we are having an alternating voltage. This will be providing an AC, which means alternating current, a current which keeps on changing its value. A current, if it keeps on changing its value, what will happen? A self-induced EMF will be produced across this inductor. From the chapter of EMI again, the induced EMF formula L di by dt. I'm just writing the magnitude. We know that it is minus L into di by dt when we look into its polarity, but we are only interested in its magnitude. So the induced EMF magnitude is equal to L into di by dt. This chapter, right? Now tell me, what is something which you have to find out from here? We need to find out the value for current that is existing in this inductor circuit. Hai ya nahi? Bol de. हाँ sir, बिल्कुल. It is that what we have to find out. कैसे करेगा? हाँ, we need to make an equation. What is that equation? V is the voltage you apply. Where will this V will be dropped across? The voltage, whatever is there in the circuit, which is being provided by the source, will be dropped completely across what? There is only one device in this particular circuit. So whatever is the voltage you provide, it will be completely dropped across the inductor. So V is equal to VL. है ना? ठीक है. What is VL का value? L into di by dt. बस. And V का value कितना? V V0 sine omega t. बस. Now I hope many of you might have got an idea how to get the value for or the equation for current from here. Rearrange. V0, L will come down, dt will go up. So di, which means this di is equal to V0 by L sine omega t dt. dt goes up. So if you want to find out the total current I, integrate. Integral di I V0 by L. Mera 12th standard legends, tell me what is integral sine omega t dt? Yes, integral sine omega t minus cos omega t by omega. है ना? I'm not going to do integration by substitution here in the class. You all might have learned from your mathematics classes. है ना? Again, V0 by L omega. How will you write cos in terms of sine? Why we have to convert cos to sine? So that the functions will be same and then we can actually compare their faces. ठीक है. So cos omega t, how can you write? You can write it as sine of 90 minus omega t, because sine 90 minus omega t is equal to cos omega t. And if you take this negative inside, V0 by L omega, negative inside sine omega t minus pi by 2. Bus. Now we already have a thorough study in all the previous classes, so I think I can directly tell what all these terms are corresponding to. है ना? Tell me what will be the maximum value of the current I0? Whatever is the coefficient of sine, what it is? V0 divided by L omega. है ना? What is the usual equation for current? Voltage by resistance. So comparing this equation to the equation what we have here, can you tell me I0 is V0 by L omega, which usually should be current is equal to voltage by resistance. What will this L omega be? What will this L omega be? L omega is the resistance of an inductor circuit to an alternating voltage. And what do you call that resistance as? उसको एक नाम रखना है ना, just like my name is Ameer or you will be having some particular name, and this का value है XL, XL का inductive reactance. So L omega is a resistance which is provided by the inductor to an alternating circuit, and its value is equal to L omega. Very important, super important, write it down. Okay, yes, done, done. Okay, so that part is done. Now try comparing the phase. Voltage is omega t and current is omega t minus pi by 2. You only tell me who is leading here and who is lagging here. Jaldi, jaldi, jaldi. Current lags voltage by 90 degree in an inductive circuit. That's what Anna says. Others, what is your opinion? V is leading by what angle? By how much? Here voltage lead 90 degree phase by current. Very good, very good. So Satya, Cody, Miara, Anna. Voltage current lags and voltage leads. Very good, Sudeep. So everybody is getting the idea on how to deal with this part, right? So you can see it is omega t, with current it is omega t minus pi by 2. So current lags or voltage leads current by how much? By pi by 2. Write it down. सुपर का डुपर और उसका भी ऊपर का important है. So in a inductor circuit, current will be leading the current by 90. In a capacitor circuit, don't get confused, but you want to learn this. In a capacitor circuit, yes, the current will be leading the voltage by 90 degree. Just the opposite in the case of current and in the case of inductor and capacitor. Resistance formula L omega. ठीक है? No doubts, I suppose. Proceeding further, if you want to take, okay, so done. Now what is left? Now we have to find out power. Then before going to power, we have to draw the phasor diagram. Okay, so first we'll draw the phasor diagram for this. For this, let us write the formula once again. V equal to V naught sine omega t. Current I is equal to I naught sine omega t minus 90, right? Okay, so if I draw the phasor diagram, marking out the coordinates, done. V, how you draw the phasor for voltage? You have to draw a line where length of the line corresponded to its maximum value, okay, and the phase is being represented here in the phasor diagram as the angle the phasor makes with the x-axis. So this is what? This is the phasor for voltage. Similarly, how will you draw the phasor for current? So the angle it makes with the x-axis is omega t minus pi by 2. This is omega t. From here you have to go behind 90 degree and the length of the line should be corresponding to its maximum value. So here you can see that the phase difference or the phase relationship between voltage and the current. बस कोई doubts नहीं है ना? Okay. Now what can we find out? We can find out the power, instantaneous power and average power. Many of you can actually guess here, right? But still we have to find out the value. देख ले. Power instantaneous is equal to voltage into current. Voltage V naught sine omega t and current is I naught sine omega t minus pi by 2. ये हो जाएगा V naught I naught sine omega t minus pi by 2, that is equal to minus cos omega t, which we already know, right? Okay, so this will be minus sin omega t cos omega t. We did the same case in the case of capacitor also, है ना? Sin omega t cos omega t. This is sin 2 omega t by 2 minus V naught I naught. This is instantaneous power, है ना? There is nothing for me to explain because we were doing the same kind of problem till now, है ना? Instantaneous power is done. अब हमारा साथ what we need to find out is the average वाला power. देख ले. How will you find P average? Formula integral of P dt by integral of dt. So I'm writing in a single step. P, if you substitute, the constants will come outside. Minus V naught I naught by 2 integral. What should be inside the integration? Sin 2 omega t dt by integral of dt. Again, I won't be telling the value, it's your responsibility. Jaldi. Jaldi se jaldi, fatafat. Average power will be equal to, I think Satya already gave the answer. Very good. So integral of sine or integral of cos, we already know the value integration for the one cycle. वो हो जाएगा. बिल्कुल 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 जल्दी बोल. जल्दी से जल्दी फटाफट. Yes, it is 0. कोई डाउट है? कोई भी डाउट नहीं है. अनीशा, you don't have to be confused for that. बिल्कुल 0 है. How many times we did? From the starting of this particular chapter we were doing. हाँ, वो तो 0 ही है ना? और क्या बढ़िया बढ़िया बढ़िया. So I think I don't need to explain how the average power is coming as 0. You can simply draw the graph like we have done the case of a capacitor, right? You will get equal amount of positive area and negative area. वो तो cancel हो जाएगा and we will be getting the average power of 0, right? So we already have explained how the average power is becoming 0 in our previous case. You don't need, जाइए अब जाइए. हाँ. So ठीक है. समझ में आ गया सबको? हाँ हाँ हाँ. I'll give you a break actually right now. Then we'll be continuing. I'll also restore my energy and come back. So no doubts till now, I suppose. Yes, I'll drink water. Thank you so much for the care you all are giving me. Okay. Now what is left is series LCR circuit. But before moving to series LCR circuit, shall we have a break? Ra bachcha log. Shall we have a break, everyone? बोल दे. Break, sir? Okay. So I'll also go and have छोटू मोटू कुछ है तो ठीक है आप भी. I'll have a tea and come. किटकैट तो बेक बनता है, ठीक है. मेरा बच्चा लोग, legends and warriors, took a break. Thank you so much. मैं तो इधर कैंटीन गया, भूल गया कि आज संडे है, कुछ भी नहीं मिला मुझे. So I had to drink some hot water and let's see how much that hot water can take me. ठीक है. So पता नहीं, बहुत भूख भी लग रहा है. कोई बात नहीं. No worries, Palak. Good to have you here. Yo. So Anisha, Anna, Palak, Miara, learn something. So ready? Shall we go back to our studies with LCR circuit? Huh? Don't talk about samosa and all. I wish I could go out and chill in this evening with samosa and all those pakoda. I feel like having pakoda with chai right now. पता नहीं, मुझे मन कर रहा है ऐसा. Pakoda with a chai. Thank you so much. Learn something. You are so intelligent. Thank you, Tushar. Anyway, बढ़िया. Appam and chicken. So अरे don't make me to have that much of water in my mouth. अरे बाप रे, appam and chicken. अरे I love it so much. अरे बाप रे. अरे ठीक है. So anyway, we have to complete it. Let's try to complete before 6:30 the entire chapter. ठीक है. So we'll be going a bit fast. कर सकता है? Okay. So yes, let's proceed. Here we go. अरे हमारा वो कहाँ है? हाँ इधर है. बाय तो इधर गया. Okay. Now we know what will happen when an alternating voltage is applied across a resistor, right? We know what happens when it is applied across a capacitor and inductor separately. Now what we are going to do is we are going to take everything together. मतलब अब हमारा पास है inductor with a specific inductance value L, a capacitor with a capacitance value of C, and a resistance which is connected in series across the same alternating voltage, which is V equal to V naught sine omega t. Now let's see how to find out the voltage across inductor, capacitor and resistor separately. If the voltage across them is given, how to find out the total voltage? What is the value of current in the circuit? What is the phase difference? We have lot many questions, and let's see how we can solve all these questions one by one. ठीक है, देख ले. We are providing a voltage of V, right, where V naught is its maximum value. You all know that this V voltage will be dropped here as V1, V2 and V3, right? Some voltage will be dropped across inductor, some will be dropped across capacitor and some will be dropped across a resistor. So the total voltage you apply V will be equal to V1 plus V2 plus V3. ठीक है, ये तो सबको पता है. And if we connect devices in series, what is going to be the same through all the three? The current will be the same in all the three. क्यों? क्योंकि all these are connected in series. So nothing to think about it, right? Now that is not my question. मेरा question ये है कि let's say the maximum voltage that can drop across a resistor is VR. This is the maximum voltage. V1, V2 and V3 are the instantaneous voltage. At an instant, the voltage drop across the inductor is V1, this is V2 and V3. So total voltage is V1 plus V2 plus V3, सबको पता है, right? My question is, if the maximum voltage that can be dropped across is VR and voltage maximum that can be dropped across capacitor is VC and maximum voltage that can be dropped across inductor is VL, what is the maximum value of voltage that can be dropped across all the three together? Is it going to be VL plus VC plus VR? That's wrong. Even though the maximum value across VC, VL and VR are given, right? The maximum voltage that is dropped across all the three is not going to be the summation of these three things. अरे क्यों नहीं sir? These are in series. Why can't we just add up the value and find out? I'll tell you. Because of this simple process of phase difference. देख ले, you will understand. I will draw the graph of all these three, then you will understand why we are not able to add these values when the question is to find out the total voltage across them. देख ले. Okay. First, let us start with which one? Okay, yellow color, let's say. We know that the current is common through all the three. So let me draw the graph of the current here. So the yellow is the graph of the current. Okay. Then now let me draw the voltage across the resistor. Who can tell me how the voltage across the resistor will be? We already have discussed. The voltage across a resistor, right, will be without having any phase difference. Matlab, whatever is the method of the motion of the current, it is in the same way the voltage across a resistor will also be making its motion. Matlab, there won't be any phase difference. The voltage across the resistor will be moving correspondingly with a different value of what? Amplitude. And amplitude of this is VR. What is VR? The maximum value of voltage dropped across the resistor. ठीक है. Then I have to draw the graph of voltage across the inductor. For this you need to know the phase difference. Tell me, the voltage across the inductor leads current or lags current? Whether it leads the current or lags the current? Jaldi, jaldi, jaldi. Seems like there is lot much of lag. Jaldi bata, jaldi. Yes, the voltage across the inductor leads the current by 90. Matlab, how will I draw the graph for that? I can draw the graph for that ऐसे, which means this is 0, this is leading 90. Matlab, the graph of voltage across the inductor will be leading by 90. So the graph will be ऐसे. This is what? The voltage across I, and this is its maximum value. ठीक है. Now what is left? Voltage across the capacitor. उसके लिए हम क्या color ढूंढेगा? Which color is left? Red is left. ठीक है. Now tell me, what is the phase relationship between the current? Why we are comparing everything with current? Because the current is same in all the three. That's why we are taking current as a base and drawing rest of the graphs in accordance with the current. ठीक है. Resistor is done, inductor is done. Voltage of the capacitor will be lagging behind the current by 90 degree. है या नहीं? So at this point it will lag behind, so it starts from here, है ना? So ऐसे, ऐसे, then ऐसे, ऐसे, then ऐसे, ऐसे, then ऐसे. So this red is the voltage across the capacitor. It lags behind the current by 90 degrees. So we have drawn all the graph. So this is voltage across capacitor, voltage across current, and voltage across resistor. Now, how many of your doubts are already cleared? देख ले अच्छे से देख ले. You can see that when the voltage across the resistor is maximum, इधर, what is the value for voltage of the inductor? This blue color graph, it is 0. What about the voltage across the capacitor at that point of time? That is also 0. Which means when when the voltage across one of the devices having the maximum value, others are having the least value. We can take one more example. देख ले. This point, this point, this point, this point, this. When voltage across the inductor is maximum at this point, VI, है ना? What about the voltages in the other cases? Red color is a voltage across the capacitor. It is having the most negative value. Yes or no? Yes. And what about our voltage across the resistor? The green color graph. Here, voltage across the resistor is actually 0. Matlab, though each of them are having their maximum values as VL, VC and VR, the net total voltage across them is not VL plus VC plus VR, because they are having their maximum values at different instants. So the maximum value that is dropped across these three of them can be somewhere here and there, but we are not able to find out from this graph. So if you are not able to find out from the graph, हमको कहाँ जाना है? हमको कहाँ जाना है फिर? How to find out the net value of the voltage? Do you remember one diagram we have learned? बिल्कुल, Phasor diagram. So we all are moving to Phasor diagram, which will help us in finding out what is the total value of voltage dropped across all the three when their individual maximum values are given. कर सकता है? हाँ, बोले हाँ sir, बिल्कुल. We all are totally excited. So I hope you all have noted this down or took a screenshot. Okay, देख ले. So in order to find out the net voltage, we are going to draw the Phasor diagram. Which phasor will I be drawing the first? I'll be drawing the phasor for the current. Any reason? Yes. The reason is the current is common in all the three, and we can draw the voltages with respect to the current. Three voltages, which is VR, VL and VC. What is the phase difference of voltage across resistor with the current? 0. So it will be, we'll be using different colors, right? So it will be along the phasor of the current, as the phase difference is 0. So the voltage of the resistor is along the current itself. Then which one we have? Voltage across inductor. Voltage across the inductor leads the current by 90. Done. Then what do we have? Voltage of the capacitor. Voltage of the capacitor lags behind the current by 90. Okay, done. Now it is done. Now, just like you add the vectors, you can add up all these values. Now you can actually understand how they are directed actually, right? VL and VC are actually opposite. So how will you add the net voltage? VL plus minus VC. Yes or no? So it will be VL minus VC. So the net voltage of inductor and capacitor is VL minus VC. And we can draw it here. So the net value of V net of inductor and capacitor is equal to VL minus VC. So where it will be? Somewhere here. If VL is having a larger value, VL minus VC will be in the direction of VL. Now you have the resultant of VL and VC, which is this, and VR. How will you add these two? Array, consider this as two vectors which are perpendicular to each other, right? So if you have two vectors which are perpendicular to each other, how will you find resultant? Root of a square plus b square, right? So similarly, you have two vectors here or two voltages here which are perpendicular to each other. So the net voltage is root of VR square plus VL minus VC the whole square. Bas. This is how you find out the net voltage across an LCR circuit if their maximum values across them is VR, VL and VC. Root of VR square plus VL minus VC the whole square. सुपर डुपर और डुपर का भी ऊपर इम्पॉर्टेंट, बहुत बड़ा इम्पॉर्टेंट है ये, ठीक है. एंड हाउ विल यू फाइंड आउट द डायरेक्शन ऑफ द रिजल्टेंट वोल्टेज वी? अरे जस्ट यूज द पैरेललोग्राम लॉ ऑफ वेक्टर एडिशन, complete the parallelogram, okay, and the resultant will be the diagonal of the parallelogram, ye V, okay. So this is the net voltage, this is the current, and the angle between voltage and current is called as what? The phase difference phi. Any doubt in this? कोई doubt है तो बता, कोई doubt नहीं है ना? The angle between voltage and the current is phase difference, right? Because in other cases it was 0 or 90 degree. Now here we are having some specific value which we don't know. ठीक है. So इधर तक कोई गड़बड़ नहीं है ना? And net value of voltage is this. From here we can actually get an equation for the total resistance of an LCR circuit also. करेगा? देख ले. VR voltage across resistor, that is equal to current into resistance. Voltage across a resistance is equal to current into resistance the whole square plus voltage across VL is voltage across inductor. How will you find out? the current passing through them, which is same, multiplied by its resistance, that is XL, minus voltage across capacitor I into its resistance XC, the whole square, is equal to total voltage. How will you write total voltage? Total current, which is same as in all the cases, multiplied by total resistance. Total voltage is total current and total resistance. What is common here? I, right? I square, if you take it outside of this, it will be coming out as I of the root, and I will be cancelled. Baki kya hai? Z is equal to root of R square plus XL minus XC, the whole square. And what is that? The total resistance of an Lcr circuit, which we call it by the name of impedance. Root of R square plus XL minus XC, the whole square. Bada, super important hai. Note it down. ठीक है? Z is equal to root of R square plus XL minus XC, the whole square. कोई गड़बड़? इधर तक कुछ भी नहीं है ना? Okay. Now we will be doing one more thing. We'll also find out the value of phase difference. Okay. So let's see how can we find out the value for phase difference here, which is tan phi. This is phi, right? Tan of phi is equal to opposite. This is how much? VL minus VC. Here it is VL minus VC. Here also it is VL minus VC divided by adjacent. This is VR. VL is equal to IXL minus IXC divided by IR. Same thing what we have used there. Either also I have used it. I common hai. XL minus XC divided by R. Another important. ये important है. ये another important. And ये तो बिल्कुल super बढ़िया important. Tan phi is XL minus XC by R. कोई डाउट है तो बता. कोई भी डाउट है तो बता. जल्दी से जल्दी बता. जल्दी जल्दी जल्दी. Good evening, Shreya. Yo, got it? तो बता आप सब लोगों का एनर्जी कितना है? सब बढ़िया? एनर्जी सब बढ़िया है क्या? எல்லாம் clear ஆயி sir. Hi Sasta. Everything is perfect. कोई डाउट है तो पूछ सकता है. कुछ भी नहीं. So are you also having a smile like this? ऐसा स्माइल है क्या चेहरे पे? हाँ बहुत मिस किया सलोनी. आप कहाँ था? 75 एनर्जी इज लेफ्ट. तो ठीक है. सो इफ 75 एनर्जी इज लेफ्ट इन एवरी वन ऑफ यू, हम तो सीधा जाएगा है ना. Now what is left to learn from here is some important things, right? Now we'll do the impedance triangle here before we proceed further. I hope you all can see this. Okay, you can draw a right angle triangle so that you can remember all these equations, right? So I have marked that as phi. So in that triangle, okay, which we call it as impedance triangle, it's a small triangle drawn so that you can understand everything, right? So tan phi is XL minus XC by R. So if tan phi has to be XL minus XC, this side has to be XL minus XC and this has to be R. Yes or no? Yes. So what will this hypotenuse be? Hypotenuse is root of XL minus XC the whole square plus R square. Hypotenuse is equal to square root of the side summation of squares of the sides, right? R square plus XL minus XC the whole square. ये क्या है? Z है ना. So please do remember this impedance triangle. Phi, this is R, this is Z, and XL minus XC. So if you remember this particular triangle, you can find out tan phi, cos phi, sin phi, whatever phi is asked in the question, you can simply find out because phi is very important. ठीक है, अच्छे, बढ़िया. Okay. Now some other things. Okay. Now we have the resistance Z. Okay. Now we have the maximum voltage V also. How to find out the maximum value of the current in the equation? वो तो हम भूल गया. कोई जगह है क्या? Here itself we'll tell. Or this is fine. We can move to the next page. Please do note down everything. It's very important. Okay. Now let me write. We have the total resistance root of R square plus XL minus XC the whole square. We have the total voltage, which is root of VR square plus VL minus VC the whole square. वो भी है. Now how will you find out the total current in the circuit or the maximum current? That is equal to V divided by Z. The total current is equal to total voltage by total resistance. I don't think there is any difficulty in understanding this. Okay. So if you have understood till here, you have got the part of what an LCR circuit is. Okay. Understood. Now, मैं तो क्या पूछने? Okay. Sometimes it is not necessary that LCR circuit is given. You will be having a resistor and a capacitor. Okay. Some question is coming from this part. Let's say the question is to find out if maximum voltage is VR and maximum voltage across capacitor is VC. ठीक है. Question is like, what is the maximum voltage across them? कैसे करेगा? How will we do this? Array, I know that what you will be thinking, sir has only thought once they are connected 3 together. 2 together हमको पता नहीं. Array, you already have the equation for 3. Why can't you just reduce to have an equation for 2? Array, only VR and VC is there. Only VR and VC is there. Right? Just don't consider VL. VL is not there. Just remove it from the equation. So V equation will be root of VR square plus VL square. And Z will be equal to root of R square. Inductor is not there. Only XC is there. So R square plus XC square. Bas. इसमें क्या problem है? कोई problem नहीं. So whatever is not given, don't use that in the equation. Whatever we have found out. That's it. Right? So that's why we haven't separately taken RC, LC or CL, whatever it is. Because once we know what is LCR, okay, whatever something is not given, don't use the term of that. Bas, rest of the things are same. ठीक है, बढ़िया, बिल्कुल बढ़िया. With a smile. Okay. So this is all about LCR circuit. Bas. So we'll do 1 or 2 questions. Okay, we'll do a question. करेगा सब? Okay. तो देख ले. An electric bulb is designed to consume 55 watts when operated at 110 volt. Okay. Bulb is a resistor, right? So what is given? Power is given, okay, and voltage is given. Jaldi se jaldi fatafat you can give me the answer in the chat box, those who know how to do the problem, right? Those who don't know, we'll be doing it together. ठीक है, कोई बात नहीं. So bulb is actually a resistor. So from these two data, can we find out the value for resistance? Bilkul. Those who do remember the formula, that this small formula, those who remember, the power is equal to V square by resistance, right? Okay. So from here, resistance is equal to V square by P. What is V? 110. So 110 square divided by power, it's 55. 110 by 55, 2. It's 220. So the resistance is equal to 220 ohm of that electric bulb. It is connected to a 220 volt 50 hertz line. Matlab now it is getting connected to another AC with the RMS voltage is given, its frequency is given through a choke coil. A choke coil matlab an inductor coil in series. We'll just draw the figure. We have the resistor, its resistance is 220 ohm. We have array. So here we have an inductor which is connected across an alternating voltage, and RMS value of the voltage is given as 220 and frequency is 50. Question: what should be the inductance, matlab L value, for which the bulb gets the correct voltage? Now, if this is connected to an AC now, okay, if the bulb want to get the exact voltage that is specified, what should be the value of L? Tell me, how much is this bulb, which is our resistance, should be getting? It should be getting 110 volt. Matlab, voltage of the resistance should be equal to 110. How will you write the voltage across a resistance in terms of current? Voltage across a resistor is equal to, let's say if a current of I passes, I into resistance is equal to 110. कोई गड़बड़ कुछ भी नहीं है ना. Start substituting. R का value 220. This is equal to 110. How will you find out current? Current का value देख ले, V by, is it V by R? Now it's a complete circuit of capacitor and an inductor, so it is V by total impedance Z. What is V? What is the voltage you apply? 220. So it is 220 divided by root of R square plus, what is R? 220, right? So 220 square plus XL the whole square. Now I hope you won't be asking me, sir, ये XC कहाँ है? क्योंकि capacitor नहीं है. Capacitor नहीं है तो उसका term भी नहीं है. अरे XC नहीं, V, हाँ XC है, ठीक है. XC नहीं XL, ठीक है, because here we have inductor. Okay, done. Substitute for I there. 220 divided by root of 220 square plus XL the whole square. Okay. 110 by 220 is 1 by 2. So this is this 220 also goes down. So this is 1 by 2 into 220, right? If we take everything upside, I hope you can understand. Chotu calculation. It will be equal to root of 220 square plus XL square will be equal to 2 into 220 square. 220 square plus XL square is equal to 4 into 220 square. है ना? 220 square, 4 times 220 square. If you take it to the right hand side, it will be getting subtracted and taking the root. So XL, I'm going to write it as L omega. So 4 220 square minus 1 220 square is 3 220 square. Taking the root is root of 3 into 220. Chota calculation. I think I don't need to explain that. So L is equal to root 3 is 1.73 220 divided by omega. Omega is not directly given. So 2 pi f. 2 into 3.14 into 50. है ना? We can actually approximate this calculation. 1.73 by 3.14, almost 2. I'm not telling actual 2. So just make the approximation. This is 1 by 2. So 220 by 1 by 2 is equal to 110. 110 by 2 into 50 is by 100, right? 110 by 100. 110 by 100, almost 1.1. Any value close to it? Yes, it's option B. बस समझ में आ गया? आ गया तो आ गया. सबको समझ में आ गया? जल्दी जल्दी बोल दे. हाँ सर बिल्कुल. मेरा प्लस कॉस्ट तो लॉन्च हो रहा है ऑन 11th of October. जसविंदर सिंह, यू कैन कम एंड ज्वाइन. ओके, तो डाउट तो कुछ भी नहीं. Okay, so yes, moving on. One more question will we do, then we'll move to the next concepts. ठीक है, बिल्कुल आ गया सत्या? Okay, so next question देख ले. A 120 volt 60 hertz AC power is connected to an 800 ohm non-inductive resistance. We have resistor and a capacitor in series. Okay, the voltage drop across resistance is found to be, okay, then the voltage drop across capacitor, what is given? अरे ये तो simple problem है. You know that V is equal to root of VR square plus VL minus VC the whole square, right? So do we have a L here? Nah, so just put it as 0 or just to remove it. So the equation will be root of VR square plus VC square is equal to V, है ना? बस. So what is V? The maximum voltage 120 given. Whatever is the maximum voltage you apply, that is the maximum voltage 120. So square the term. 120 square is equal to VR square. How much is it? 102 square plus VC square. So this is 120, 12 square 144 minus 102 square, which we don't know obviously, is equal to VC square. Okay, approximate and don't do 102 square and all. ठीक है. 102 is close to 100, so 100 square कर ले. 100 square is 10,000. So 14,400 minus 10,000, almost it is 4,400. This is almost equal to VC square. VC is given. So how will you find VC? The square root of 4,400 almost. So which value square will be 4,400? देख ले, 8 square नहीं होता है, 1 square बहुत ज़्यादा होता है, 55, 5 5 से 25 ये भी नहीं होता है. So the only option is option B. Don't do the math. Math मत कर ले. Okay, physics is not trying to find out whether you know the answer or not. Just look into the option and tick कर ले ऐसे. Go 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 ऐसे ऐसे ऐसे. Done done done. अरे जशविंदर, it is the crash course for the first part of physics book. Multiple choice questions part. Very good, 63 volt. Badhiya, badhiya, badhiya. Now let us proceed further. Okay, now let us talk about in an LCR circuit what is the power. How will you find out the power? देख ले. Ready? How to find out the power? Okay. Okay. Now the voltage source is always V naught sin omega t, right? So let's say there is a phase difference of phi. A phase difference of phi is there. So how will you write the respective equation for current? Current I is equal to I naught sin omega t plus phi. Let's say the current is actually leading the voltage by a phase difference of phi. Okay, so this is a general equation. It can be plus phi or minus phi according to the LCR circuit we are having. So I have just written a general formula for voltage and current, and we have marked the phase difference as phi. I hope you all know how to find out phi. याद है ना? Tan phi XL minus XC by R. We all have learned this. Now let's see how to find out the power of an LCR circuit. Power is voltage into current, right? So that is V naught sin omega t I naught sin omega t plus phi. This is V naught I naught. Sin A sin B is equal to sin A sin B, mathematics, trigonometric identities. Cos A minus P minus cos A plus P. है या नहीं? So sin A sin B by 2 will be there. Sin A sin B is equal to cos A minus B minus cos A plus B by 2, right? Okay, so this will be cos of A minus B omega t minus of omega t minus phi. Omega t cancels minus phi. Cos of minus phi is phi itself. Okay, then cos of A plus B omega t plus phi. How much? 2 omega t plus phi. This is the instantaneous value for power. So we all know how to find out the average value of power. How will you find out average? P dt by integral of dt. Hey ya nahi? Ha. So V naught I naught by 2 will come outside of integration. V naught I naught by 2 will be coming outside of integration. Then what is remaining is average of cos phi and average of cos 2 omega t plus phi. Tell me, what will be the average of this value? If we put it in the equation, we are simply finding out the average. Sabko pata, we have done so many averages. Cos fine. Sine, what is its average? Positive half cycle, negative half cycle, add up for the entire cycle, 0 ho jayega, which means the average value of cos 2 omega t plus phi is 0. Here we have time term, so it's a variable. Lekin ye average value of cos phi, will it be again 0? Ye bhi 0 ho jayega? Bilkul nahi. Kyun? Why not? Because cos phi is a constant. Okay, cos phi is a constant. Phi value, it is not dependent upon the time, it is always a constant value. A constant ka, what is its average value? That itself. Constant value, what is the average of 2? Number 2 ka average kitna hai? 2 itself, right? There is no average for a constant number. So the answer will be this becomes 0. So we'll be writing it as such, cos phi. 2 I have written as root 2 and root 2. Why? Because V naught by root 2 is equal to V RMS. I naught by root 2 is equal to I RMS into cos phi. This is the average power in an LCR circuit. Simple. Okay. And the average power in an LCR circuit is equal to RMS voltage, RMS current into cos of phi, which is the phase difference. And this cos phi, we call it by the name of, and ये cos phi का नाम है power factor. Why power factor? Because the cos phi determines the value for the power in an LCR circuit. So it's a factor which determines the power value. So it is called as power factor. Bas. Okay, done. One more thing, let me update you here is, now you got this as the average value of power. Let's see whether the equation is true according to what we have already learned. What we have learned? We have learned in the case of a resistor circuit. Resistance circuit matlab where there is only resistor. We'll take a fresh page. A resistor, alternating current, phase difference was how much? 0. What was the power equal to? V RMS, I RMS, right? So let's see, with the equation of average power we just have derived for, it's an LCR circuit, right? If it's a combination of L, C and R, we can use this formula. It is V naught I naught by cos phi. It is not necessary that all the three has to be there. Even if one of them is there, we can use this, right? So let's see this equation is true or not. For a resistor circuit, resistor phase difference is 0. So the power average will be equal to not V I naught, V RMS. I'm really sorry for that, right? So this is V RMS, I RMS into cos. For resistor circuit, phase difference is 0. So cos 0 is 1. So we got, according to this particular equation, power in a resistor circuit is how much? V RMS into I RMS. It's the same as what we already have found out. Okay. In the case of a capacitor circuit, phase difference 90, है ना? In the case of capacitor, current leads the voltage by 90 degree. सबको पता है. And here we have got that power is equal to 0. Let's see, will we be getting the same formula according to the power formula we have derived right now? Vrms Irms cos phi. In capacitor circuit, phase difference is 90. Substitute it here. Cos 90 हो जाएगा, 0 है. So what we have proved is given the same answer with this equation also. Okay, who is giving me so much of roses and love? Arbaj, Miara, Satya, Cute, Sanchana, Ritu. Yes, Satya and Ritu has given me the answer. Badhiya, badhiya. Good. So ये तो clear है, कोई गड़बड़ नहीं. Thank you so much, Anna. Okay, so shall we proceed? Yes, Sudeep. ठीक है. I'll also charge my phone. नहीं तो I won't be able to read your chats. तो power factor का हो गया. Now, what is left is resonance. Okay, topics what is left is resonance, right? Sharpness and quality factor, LC oscillations and transformers. Okay, let's see, we can complete by 6:30. You do? Okay. Now, देख ले, what is resonance? How many of you do remember? Those who don't remember, I'll give you a small idea. What this resonance is. From work energy theorem classes, I hope you do remember this spring mass system. Then taking your energy to the chapter of oscillations, again 11th standard. Let's say I'm extending this spring to a value of x, and if I leave this mass, what happens? Yes, the mass will be coming back to its equilibrium position. Will it be stopping here? No, it will be going back, right? And then it will be coming back, and this will be undergoing a to and fro motion like this, or we can say that this will be undergoing an oscillatory motion, right? And during the time of oscillation, this is its amplitude. The maximum displacement the particle can make from the equilibrium position or its equilibrium length is amplitude, right? Okay, so we have the amplitude here, okay, which is its maximum displacement. Now, if we try to oscillate this particular spring mass system with a particular frequency called as the natural frequency, okay, natural angular frequency if you want to tell. So if you try to oscillate this with a particular frequency or specific frequency, we usually call it as a natural angular frequency omega naught. This spring mass system will be vibrating with maximum amplitude, right? And this condition is called as resonance. What is resonance? The particle vibrating with the maximum amplitude when it is made to oscillate with a natural angular frequency is resonance. है ना? This natural frequency is also called as sometimes resonance frequency. It is also called as resonance frequency, right? Okay, this is the resonance. I just told you about this so that some memories will be coming back. Bas. Now, let's see how this concept of resonance can be involved with an LCR circuit. ये कहाँ से आ रहा है, ये resonance कहाँ से आ रहा है, ये देख ले. Okay, so resonance part is, I hope the concept is clear to you. Now, to an LCR circuit where we apply a voltage of V0 sin omega t. When you apply a voltage of V0 sin omega t, a current I equal to sin omega t plus some phase difference will be produced. है या नहीं? So the one thing that is produced in the circuit is current, and I naught is the amplitude of this particular current. Yes or no? Hai ya nahi? Ray, when we apply the voltage, current will be produced, right? What kind of current we'll be having in the circuit? A sinusoidal current, right? An alternating current is what we'll be having, and this will be its maximum voltage. Sorry, that will be its maximum current, or we call it as the amplitude of this particular graph, right? Bol de. Isn't this current what you can see? What you can see? Yes, the current is undergoing an oscillatory motion like this, up and down, up and down, up and down. Hai ya nahi? Now tell me, when this current can have the maximum value, or whenever the current is having the maximum value, that condition will be called as what? When this current is having the maximum amplitude, that condition will be called as the resonance. Hai na? Now let's see what is at what stage or for what value of omega we can have this resonance. Take le. Write the formula of I naught. Formula is V naught divided by Z, that is R square plus XL minus XC, the whole square. Again rewriting. I naught is V naught by root of R square plus XL is L omega minus 1 by C omega, the whole square. Okay, we understood that current is oscillating, right? At a particular value of omega, the current will be having its maximum amplitude. That process we call it as resonance. And why we have written this equation? Kyunki we can find out that value of omega where resonance can happen in this current, right? Dekh le. This is the equation for current. Resonance happens when the current is maximum. For current to be maximum, the denominator of this fraction should be minimum. For a given L, C, R and V naught value, all these are constant. What is the only variable here? Omega. We can change the value of omega, right? So by changing the value of omega, we need to make the denominator value as small as possible to get the maximum value for the current. Tell me, for a square term like this, what is the minimum value possible? Is it some negative numbers? No. Squares cannot have any negative numbers, right? So for this square term, the minimum value that is possible is what? 0. The minimum value possible for this square term is equal to 0. Why we are finding out the minimum value? Because it is at the minimum value of this, the denominator will be minimum and the current can have the maximum value. And why we have to find the maximum value of current? Because whenever the current is having the maximum in its oscillation, it is at that point we will be having the resonance. Hai na? Hai ya nahi? Ha sir, bilkul. So from here, can we find out the value of omega at which this can be equal to 0? Yes, kar sakta hai. Square remove kar le, still 0. I hope I don't need to explain you how all these things are happening. Omega goes up, omega square is equal to 1 by LC. So omega naught. Aa gaya? Understood what we have done here? We were trying to find out at what condition this current will be under resonance, or when will it be undergoing resonance. It will be undergoing resonance when current is maximum. Current will be maximum when denominator is minimum. Denominator will be minimum when this term is having the minimum value, which is 0. And this can only be 0 when the value of omega is equal to 1 by root LC. So this omega we call it as what? What do we call this? Angular frequency. What angular frequency? Yes, natural angular frequency, or also we call it as resonance frequency. It is at this value of omega naught, I naught value will be having the maximum. समझ में आ गया? समझ में आ गया है क्या नहीं? अच्छे से समझ में आ गया ना? बिल्कुल हाँ. ना बोल दे. At resonance, current will be having the maximum value, I naught max. Tell me what its value will be. That is V naught by root of R square plus L omega minus 1 by C omega will be 0. है या नहीं? Or L omega will be equal to 1 by C omega. And let me write you one more equation here. What is L omega? XL. 1 by C omega is XC. So many things that you have to keep in mind once you go through these kind of questions. ठीक है? Understood? So XL value and XC value will be equal. मतलब inductive reactance and capacitive reactance will be equal during the time of resonance. That's the reason why they are getting cancelled. And if they get cancelled, I naught max will be V naught by root of R square plus 0 is root of R square. Root R square is R. So during the time of resonance, the maximum value of current is equal to V naught by R. बस आ गया? बच्चा लोग अंडरस्टूड, गॉट इट? बिल्कुल सही, अमेजिंग. ठीक है, सत्या, इशिता, श्रेया, यल्लाम क्लियर आई, ऋतु, Satya, Utya, very good, amazing. Okay, so we have completed till the part of resonance and yes, till here, right? Okay, now I hope I can rub it off. Okay, so it happened already. Okay, now let's see what is the use of resonance in an LCR circuit, right? Is there any use for LCR circuit? Yes, I'll tell you. How many of you have tuned the radio? How will you get a specific channel? Let's say I want to listen to 93.5. What will you do? You'll be turning the knob and you'll make the frequency of your radio as 93.5, which is same as the frequency of incoming channel which you want to hear. And then you will match them. Hai nahi? Then you'll be listening to that particular channel. So don't you want to know how this is happening? This is happening because of the simple concept of resonance. Dekh le. You have your radio here. Aapka paas radio hai. And what this radio actually is? It is a simple LCR circuit. Okay, so simple LCR circuit is what radio is, and radio will be having an antenna. And you know that so many channels will be coming from the radio station. Let's say a channel of 92 Hertz, a 95 Hertz, and 97 Hertz is coming. 3 channels are coming. But you only want to hear to that channel of frequency 92. What will you do? You know that natural frequency ka formula hai 1 by root LC. You will be turning the knob, right? While you turn the knob, what you're doing is you're changing the value of capacitance. You will keep on changing the value of capacitance by turning the knob of the radio until it is equivalent to the frequency of the channel you want to receive. In this case, it is 92. So you'll keep on changing the value of capacitance to adjust the value of natural frequency or the resonance frequency equal to that of the channel you want to receive. Once this happens, क्या हो जाएगा? Once the resonance frequency of our radio or LCR circuit is same as that of the channel you want to receive, क्या हो जाएगा? At that point of time, the voltage coming through this particular channel, okay, the voltage coming through this particular channel will be producing a current in the circuit with its maximum amplitude. Okay, this will be producing a current with maximum amplitude and you will be listening to that particular channel. You will be asking, sir, won't the voltages coming from these channels also be heard? No. Why? Because these are having frequencies other than the natural frequency. So the current produced will be, the amplitude of the current produced will be less. देख ले. Okay, so if the amplitude of the current is less, there will only be a feeble way you can listen to that particular channel. Matlab, this will be almost hindered, you won't be listening with respect to the channel with higher current. समझ में आ गया ये? समझ में आ गया? The concept of resonance. Is it clear, the concept of resonance? Yes, बढ़िया बढ़िया बढ़िया. Now I'll tell you one more thing from here. For this particular thing to happen, matlab, okay, the value of current I naught m should be having the maximum value at its angular frequency or resonance frequency, and at all other frequencies, omega, the value of I naught should be very less, right? Then only this channel will be avoided and you will be listening to only this particular channel. Is it clear? Keep it in mind. What is the simple thing that I have told you? For this resonance concept to happen, right, the I naught max value should be very much higher compared to the small I naught values produced by other channel. Then only we'll be able to listen to it, right? Is this clear? Keep it in your mind. Okay. Now let that point be there inside your mind. Now first we'll be looking into a graph and then we'll explain what is the concept that I have told you with respect of this particular graph. देखिए. So I'm going to draw a graph. Which graph? A graph between I naught and omega. Okay, omega starting from 0 and goes up. I naught value starting from 0 and goes up. You know that at a particular value of omega, which is omega naught, which is our natural frequency, I naught, the amplitude will be having its maximum value. Right? Yes or no? At omega naught, I naught will be maximum. At value of omega greater than omega naught, or at value of omega lesser than omega naught, the value of I naught will be lesser. 2 points I have marked. For value of, let's say I am taking two omegas, omega 1 and omega 2. Omega 1 is in front of omega naught, omega 2 is behind omega naught. Whichever omega you take, you know that I naught value will be lesser than I naught max, right? So if you connect all these points, you'll be getting a graph like this. आपको मिल गया? हाँ, this is the kind of graph you will get. So at omega naught, you'll have the maximum value of the current, which is I naught. Now, I'm asking you to remember one simple thing that I told you when I was explaining regarding that radio. What was the thing that I have told you? For channels to be specifically heard without listening to other channels, I naught max value should be very much higher compared to all the values of I naught. I naught max is produced at omega naught. I naught value is produced at other values of omega. Right? Then only you can distinguish one particular channel from the other channels. Yes or no? If you look into this graph, obviously at omega naught, I naught is max. But at omega 1 and omega 2 values also, the value of I naught is almost comparable to I naught max. Isn't it? The value of I naught max is almost compared to I naught. But is this good to have a very good radio signal reception so that we can listen to the channel in a proper way? Nah, because we already have told for a proper signal reception and listening to a channel in a proper way, the value of I naught, which is produced at other values of omega, should be very much lesser. Which means how the graph should be looking like. The graph should be looking like this. The graph should be more sharper. Okay, what is the use of having this graph of I naught and omega more sharper? It's very simple. क्या है? Simplicity is at omega naught alone, will have the maximum value for current, and at all the other values of omega, let's say I'm taking an omega in front of omega naught. देख ले, whether it is omega 1, whether it is omega 2, the value of I naught is very much lesser than I naught max. The condition to be satisfied for receiving the radio in the best way possible. So, for identifying and listening to a proper channel by removing the frequency from all other channels, what should be there? The sharpness of this I naught omega graph should be more, and ये sharpness का formula is equal to L omega naught by R. Sometimes if you open your NCERT book, a big derivation is given. बिल्कुल useful भी नहीं है. It is not at all required. You just have to learn the sharpness, or called as quality factor. Okay, the quality factor or sharpness is equal to L omega naught divided by R, because if the sharpness or quality factor is more will be the sharpness and more will be the resonance that is happening in that particular circuit in a amazing way. Clear? Everyone? Yes, Myara, Archana, Naina. Yes. ठीक है, तो सबको पता चला, सबको समझ में आ गया? ठीक है. Yes, clear. Weightage of this particular chapter, this and EMI together can have a weightage of almost 20 to 22%. This and EMI together can have a percentage of 20 to 22% can have. Okay, now 2 more topics left. Okay, we'll do the questions after this, which means after completing all the concept, we'll be doing some questions. वो तो ठीक है ना? हाँ, so that I can also be relaxed and in that state of mind, then हाँ, तो हो गया. Last 2 concepts, LC oscillation and transformers. I think which many of you are having the doubts. देख ले. Very important. LC oscillation. So to understand LC oscillation, again I have to take you back to your 11th standard memory of spring mass system का oscillation. ये तो हमारा spring, ये तो mass. If you extend this spring of mass M to here, and if you leave it, you can see that this mass will be oscillating. Tell me which all are the energy associated with this mass when it undergoes oscillation. Jaldi. When it is stretched, spring is stretched. When the spring is stretched, an energy associated with it is potential energy half kx square. 11th standard topic it is. Once you leave the body from here or the mass, it will start accelerating till it reaches the center, and here the entire potential energy will be converted into kinetic energy of half mv square. So this oscillation is actually the oscillation between what and what? The potential energy and the kinetic energy. Yes or no? Yes. And what is the equation for acceleration? Minus omega square x. याद है? And acceleration is equal to d square x by dt square. Double differentiation of displacement is equal to minus omega square x. इधर तक याद है ना? Keep this in mind, then only we can understand about LC oscillation. What is LC oscillation? An oscillation happening in what? It's not a big deal at all. An oscillation happening in an inductor capacitor circuit. ठीक है. So take an inductor and a capacitor. I'm having a capacitor. Positively charged, negatively charged. So I'm having a capacitor which is fully charged. Okay. Now this I'm connecting to an inductor through a switch. Initially, the switch is open. Everyone, listen to me, it's very important. Now, is there a current in the circuit? Bilkul nahi. Okay. So, what is the only energy here? So, the only energy is the energy stored inside the capacitor. Formula for energy stored inside the capacitor, Q square by 2C. So, this is the total energy right now, which is actually acting inside the capacitor, which is Q square by 2C. Okay. Graph, you'll only understand the flow of charges and current here once we listen to this graph or look into this graph. So, ये graph भी देख लें. So, in this graph, we'll be plotting the variation of voltage and current in that LC oscillation circuit. Okay. We'll use different colors, right? Okay. White we'll be using for charge, and blue will be using for current. Okay. देख ले. Initially, what was the charge on the capacitor plate? It is maximum. So I can use this blue color and say the charge was actually maximum. Arre. Charge is given white, hai na? So the charge when time is equal to 0, this is time. When time equal to 0, charge is how much? Charge is maximum. And blue color, which is for current. What is the current in the circuit initially? It is 0. So these are the points, right? Close the circuit. Close the switch. Okay, this will be a closed loop. Once this is closed, what happens? Yes, the current will start flowing in this particular direction. When the current start flowing in this direction, can you tell me what happened to the charge? Yes, this will be continuously discharging. Matlab, the charge on the capacitor, charge is white, right? The charge on the capacitor from a higher value will keep on going down till it becomes 0. And as more and more charges are discharged, more will be the flow of charges, and the flow of charge is called as current. So what happened to the current? Current will be increasing. Current, I say, increase ho jayega. Current is in blue color. Current will be increasing and will be reaching the maximum value at the end, which means in the next case what you can see is this capacitor with 0 charges and the inductor with maximum current, which means now there will be completely current. Can you tell me where the energy is stored right now? Yes, the energy is stored in the inductor. Formula half Li square. So once it is completely discharged, this will be converted to maximum current, and the current will make the magnetic energy to get stored in the inductor. Formula half Li square. ठीक है, इसके बाद क्या हो जाएगा? Current was flowing, this potential difference becomes 0 or charge on the capacitor plate becomes 0. अभी source कुछ नहीं है in the circuit. If there is no source, what happened to current? Current will start dropping down. Okay, the current in this direction will start decreasing. If you mark it here, the current will start decreasing from the maximum value, and after some time it becomes 0. You know that when a changing current passes through an inductor, what happens? Self-induction happens, right? Formula is L into di by dt. We don't need the formula, but an EMF is induced across this inductor. How many of you do remember to find out the polarity of the induced EMF? According to Lenz's law, the direction of the induced EMF is to oppose a change in flux, or to oppose the reason for change in flux. What is the reason for change in flux? Current in this direction is decreasing. How can you oppose it? By increasing the current in the same direction. How can you increase? By producing extra current in this direction. So here it has to be positive and negative, which means an EMF is induced here with positive and negative. So we can say an EMF is induced when the current starts dropping down, process self-induction. And what will this positive and negative will do? it will now charge the capacitor. Understood? So this EMF dropped or the EMF produced across the inductor will produce a charge on this inductor. समझ में आ गया? So charge which was actually at where was the charge? Charge was white, which was 0 now, will be getting charged in the opposite direction. Why I have drawn the graph in the negative? Initially here it was positive and negative. Now this positive will be charging it positive here and negative here. So now the current becomes 0 and entire energy will be how much? The charge on the capacitor Q square by 2C, and this keeps on happening. ये ऐसे हो जाएगा, होता ही रहता है, होता रहता है, होता रहता है. Understood? Clear? Okay, which means if you draw the graph of this, ऐसे हो जाएगा. Then charge which is maximum now, after some time it becomes 0, then it becomes maximum. What about the value of I? I becomes negative, 0. It will keep on following the same trend ऐसे. Is it clear? Okay. So here it was the oscillation between what and what? Here it was the oscillation between kinetic energy and potential energy. Here it is the energy between electrical and the energy inside the inductor is magnetic energy. Those who don't know. Because inductor produce magnetic field lines. So the energy is stored as magnetic field lines or magnetic energy. So this is the oscillation between electrical energy and the magnetic energy. Okay, and yes, one last thing about this LC oscillation. It's an oscillation, right? So we need to find out what is the frequency with which it oscillates. Omega का value, है ना? चाहिए हमको. So yes, let's find out the value of omega. For finding out that, you just need to know that these are connected in parallel. है या नहीं? So whatever is the voltage across the capacitor, same will be the voltage across inductor. है ना? No doubt in that. So Vc will be equal to VL. Voltage across the capacitor formula Q by C, and voltage across the inductor formula L di by dt. Okay. For finding out omega, if it was a normal oscillation, we have made an equation for x. Why x here? Because when it is oscillating, the value which is changing is x here. During the time in LC oscillation, what is changing? Here it was displacement, here it is the Q value, the charge value. So if you want to find out this omega value, you need to make an equation for Q, right? So I'm going to replace I with Q. I with Q, I don't think it's a big task. I is equal to dq by dt. Current I is equal to dq by dt bus, isn't it? Right. Now there has to be a negative sign, because you can see that when current is increasing, which is our blue graph, the charge, which is our white graph, is decreasing, isn't it? So dq matlab change of a decreasing value. Change of a decreasing value is negative. dq will come as negative. So in order to avoid that negative sign, we will be adding an extra negative sign. So I is negative dq by dt, because when current is increasing, charge is decreasing. ठीक है. So Q by C L di by dt is how much? dq by dt with a negative sign, right? So d by dt of I is equal to dq by dt with a negative sign. So this is equal to Q by LC negative d square q by dt square. If you rearrange, try comparing, compare कर ले जल्दी से. d square x by dt square, d square q by dt square, minus x we have here because x was a variable, here we have q. What is the x near to x value? What is the coefficient of x? Omega square. So what should be the coefficient of q here? This should also be omega square. Matlab, from here we can write omega square value is LC. समझ में आ गया? So the value of omega is equal to 1 by LC. We just need to compare these two equations and we'll find out that whatever was the coefficient of x was omega square. So here as q is changing instead of x, the coefficient of q should be equal to omega square. So we got omega square is equal to 1 by LC, or omega is equal to 1 by root LC. Okay, done. That's about LC oscillation. And one last part. Shall we do the last part, which is transformers? Hi Aradhya. Shah, tell me. अरे I am the person who's taking 3.5 hours continuous talking. आप तो बिल्कुल tired हो गया. Sure. Yes. Now okay. हाँ जी सर. अरे ब्रेक तो खत्म भरत. हमारा क्लास तो हो गया. 5 more minutes बस. And those who haven't liked the session, जल्दी से फटाफट like कर ले. Okay. So yes. Last is transformers, right? We know that okay, electricity is generated at powerhouses, right? And how will it be reaching our houses? How will it reach our houses? With the help of transmission line. The lines TL, transmission lines. I hope you might have seen the overhead lines passing over the post in main roads and all, right? So the transmission lines will be taking the electrical energy from this powerhouse to our houses, right? And this particular transmission lines is supposed to be carrying a specific amount of power, so that with that specific amount of power the devices in our houses can be worked. What's the formula for power? VI, है ना? ठीक है. You know that whenever current is passing through the circuits, which means through this transmission lines, there is a possibility, not there is a possibility, a huge amount of heat energy is lost. Okay, a lot amount of electrical energy will be converted into heat energy and it will be lost, and the formula for heat energy lost is I square RT. Yes or no? So if I substitute for I from here, how much it is going to be? I square is P square by V square, RT is H. P, the power which is receiving your houses should be a constant. Resistance of this transmission lines will be a constant which we cannot change, and time is also will be a constant. So what you can do in order to reduce this heat energy produced, the heat energy produced can be reduced, yes, by having H value lesser, by having a maximum voltage in the transmission lines. When the voltage in the transmission lines is made maximum, we can conduct the electricity from the powerhouses to your houses with a lesser amount of heat energy loss. ये तो कैसे कर सकता है? ये कैसे करेगा? This is done with a device, and that device is called as transformers. So there comes the use of these transformers. So when a 220 volt of potential is produced in your powerhouses, what will be done? This 220 will be converted to some 11,000 volt or 22,000 volt by the transformers kept here. Why? Because when the voltage in the transmission lines is higher, the heat energy lost will be lesser. And this specific transformer which converts a low voltage to a high voltage, we call it as step up transformer. ठीक है, इसका कॉल करता है step up. So throughout the transmission lines it will be a very high voltage, and that's why you might have seen when you walk through the roads you'll be seeing the big device on the post that is called as transformers, and on that it will be written 11 kV or 22 kV danger. Have you seen that? Hannah? So yes, so there we'll be having the transformers. So in the transmission lines we'll be having a very high voltage. Can we use that high voltage in our houses? No. So we'll be using a step down transformer before you send it to your houses. What will step down transformer will do? It will convert the 20,000 voltage back to 220 volt, which is required by your houses. समझ में आ गया? So increasing voltage is step up and decreasing voltage is step down. Bus, and understood the duty of transformers and why we use transformers in the circuit. Perfect. Let's see the working of a transformer. I hope you all have copied this down. Okay. So the basic structure of a transformer is it will be having a metallic core like this. A metallic core it will be having, and on this metallic core you will be having two kinds of windings. On one arm you can have a specific winding, and on the second arm also there will be some windings. The windings on the first part we call it as primary windings, and here we call it as secondary. Okay, it is at the primary windings you will be providing your input voltage. Okay, VI, the input voltage is provided at the primary. Okay, obviously you know that the voltage that is produced in our powerhouses is alternating voltage. है या नहीं? Alternating voltage will produce an alternating current, है ना? Now you all know that when current passes through this particular coil, this will be a revitis. This will be producing the magnetic field lines, and the magnetic field lines produced by the first coil will be passing through the second coil also. Okay, if you want I'll draw two lines. Matlab, the field lines produced by the primary coil will be passing through the secondary coil, and because of the changing voltage and because of the changing current, the magnetic field lines produced by the primary coil will keep on changing, and the field lines associated with the second coil changes. Matlab, the flux associated with the secondary changes. Flux associated with the secondary coil will change, and when the flux associated with the secondary coil changes, what happens? An EMF is induced in the secondary formula. Array formula for induced EMF, number of turns into d phi by dt. Let's say number of turns is ns. Number of turns of the secondary coil, ns. EMI chapter, I hope I don't need to explain how it is. So induced EMF in the secondary is equal to ns into d phi by dt. बस है या नहीं? हाँ सर बिल्कुल. So we got the induced EMF in the secondary. How an EMF is induced? Because of the changing magnetic flux produced by the primary. Don't you think that this changing flux is passing through the primary coil also? Yes. So if the flux associated with the primary coil changes, won't there be a self-induction process here also? Yes sir. So won't an EMF be induced in the primary? Yes or no? Yes. Formula, number of turns in the primary into rate of change of flux. So EMF in the primary, EMF in the secondary, right? Okay. So we have to know that we'll be talking about the ideal case where resistance in the primary coil is considered to be 0. When the resistance is 0, whatever is the input voltage you provide, no resistance, there is only inductor. So whatever is the input voltage, that will be equal to the induced EMF in the primary, that is NP equal to d phi by dt. Matlab, if you take the ratio of input voltage to output voltage, which is secondary, ES divided by EP is equal to ES by EP. d phi by dt will cancel, that is NS by NP. So E secondary is equal to NS divided by NP into EP, which means EMF produced in the secondary, which means in the secondary coil, is equal to number of turns in the secondary to number of turns in the primary into EMF in the primary. Tell me, if number of turns in the secondary is greater than number of turns in the primary, what happens? This ratio of NS by NP will be larger than 1. If this larger than 1 is multiplied with E primary, ES will be having a value greater than E primary. Hai ya nahi? If NS is greater than NP, EMF in the secondary will be greater than the EMF in the primary. And isn't this the exact condition for a step up? Yes or no? Step up transformer, with a secondary EMF, right? The EMF coming out of the transformer is larger than the primary, which is the input voltage. Yes or no? Bol de, हाँ sir, बिल्कुल. And this happens when the number of secondary is greater than number of primary. So now I think you can easily guess what will be the condition for a step down. For stepping down, number of turns in the secondary should be lesser than, and number of EMF in the secondary will be lesser than EMF in the primary. Bus. Okay, done, done. So here we are at the end of this particular chapter, which is transformers. And sometimes they'll be asking you for the equation for current also. So how will you get the current? The current equation you'll be only getting once you make a small ideal case approximation. Approximation matlab we have to consider that power in the primary and power in the secondary are equal. Matlab there is no power loss. That is not a real life situation which cannot happen at any point, but we'll assume that power in the primary is equal to power in the secondary. So power in the primary is equal to power in the secondary. Power formula: voltage primary, current primary. Power in the secondary is equal to voltage secondary, current secondary, right? So from here, can't you find out the primary current and secondary current? Yes. So this is one set of equation, and this is another set of equation. So comparing by using these two equations, you can find out the unknown whichever is given in the question. बस ठीक है. हो गया तो हो गया. संख्यामित्र हेलो, सॉरी फॉर लेट. अरे आप व्हाट कैन आई से, बहुत लेट, सुपर लेट है. Thank you so much, Anna, means a lot. Okay, so can I give you a small task to everyone? आप लोग कर सकता है छोटू छोटू task to everyone. Can I give you small task? Hi Santosh, good evening. So the small task I'm going to give you is, you just share this particular class with all of your friends, okay, so that they can also learn, okay, and the reach of this particular class will also be more. कर सकता है सब in your class groups, school groups, or to your friends. Share this video to everyone, and those who haven't liked the session, जल्दी से जल्दी फटाफट like कर ले. Hi Niti, been a long time. कैसे? And yes, do like the session and do support. And this is all about today's session. Thank you so much, everyone. Okay, so for 11th standard student and those who are preparing for a NEET or JEE and those who want to revise the 11th standard topics starting from the units and dimension till the chapter of gravitation, you can come and join for the crash course for and you can see which all teachers will be there. Me and Anurag sir will be there for physics, Pranjay sir for bio, chemistry, Vivek Gupta sir and Max Nikki ma'am. Okay. So we'll be starting on 11th of October. Those who would like to start your term 1 examination thing, you can come and join. Okay. These are the other batches as you can see. And tomorrow, current electricity chapter will be there. Okay, at 10 p.m. So don't miss it. Thank you so much, Krishna. Okay. So tomorrow 10 p.m. current electricity chapter will be there. Don't miss it. Okay. I want every one of you. So we'll start from the basics and we'll be covering all the topics. Right. Make sure that you are there at 10 p.m. and let's learn this particular chapter together. Right. So thank you so much, everyone. Okay. So those who haven't liked the session, jaldi se like kar le fatafat, and those who haven't subscribed, subscribe it so that you will get all the notification. Thank you so much. Bye, everyone. Okay. Happy evening and enjoy your day.